Morning, 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 guys. It's good to see you today. I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, today's going to be exciting because it's going to be a nice and early debate. I woke up now at 3:30 so I can have this debate against Reid on why is NASA deceitful. Hope you're all doing well. It's good to see you guys in. Mikey Smith, Yamacha Wombat, and Richard G. Thank you all for coming. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it's going, what's going on, and everything. I just hope everything's going to work out perfectly. I'm going to try my best to get it out as clear as possible for you guys. Hey, Kling Lightning 300, good to see you too. I'm still waiting for... Yeah, I just had some coffee. Thank you, Charlie. It's great to see you too. Let's see, it says 40 votes already, or 41 votes now. NASA is deceptive, yes 41%, no, well 40%, and no 60% with 42 votes. Well, it's good to see you guys in. I hope my sound's okay for you guys. So I've got two cameras to look at today. I've got my phone so I can chat with the guys from Modern Day Debates. Which, I think Amy's going to be moderating today. And then I've got my webcam like we usually use for the for the debate. Hey Cygnus Step, good to see you, mate. Thank you for coming. Glad you could make it. So yeah, I'm half and half still asleep actually. But I got my opening set. It's definitely not going to be 10 minutes long though, but it's open enough to get my 5 arguments out that I want to get on why NASA is deceptive. Who let Charlie Walsh in here? That would be me, mate. Yeah, it's fine. I think Charlie's okay, guy. So, just waiting for the email to come in. I wonder what time it is there by you guys. What's the times? What time is it there by everywhere else? I mean, it's always cool to see you guys around. But 4 a.m. in the morning, seeing you guys also, yeah, really odd stuff. Hey, Bobby Zinga, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Yeah, so I got an email last night. It says, hi, I've got this debate 8 p.m. ET. Okay, kind of to pick up your 10 p.m. ET debate. The host and moderator, so we someone fresh to keep up. Okay, so yeah, Amy's going to be moderating, it seems to me. 9 p.m. Okay, so it's not too late by you, Charlie. That's some great news. I tried to set up the sound yesterday that I could now get it through the system for the debate. I wish my wife told me last night the sound was bad because she never told me. So the sound wasn't too great on StreamYard last night for you guys, but I mean I was streaming through StreamYard. I didn't use OBS. I'm using OBS now, so hopefully it should be great because I did try and set it up as good as I can. Got my mic going, got everything going up. So yeah. Okay, 8 p.m. at where Bobby is, not bad, and then 7:55 p.m. by Mikey. It's weird how we have time zones. Yeah, it's because time is set on the location of the sun. It works like a sundial. Cygnus said, Mark Reid has nothing but CGI and UFC and MTV. He will lose this debate. Yes, Cygnus Step, I'm really interested to see what he can present that is going to be for this debate. I mean, what evidence can a person bring that's going to that you can present it saying, okay, no, it can only, I mean, no, they can't be deceptive because I mean there's just too much has happened that makes them show that they are deceptive. I see it's 3 minutes to the debate, but I still have not got my email yet. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. And I mean, they did email to say they're gonna send send the link 10 minutes before the debate. Or are they sending it in Discord maybe? I haven't got anything from Discord. Let's go look. Nothing in Discord yet. Let's see. That's Mark Reid. The link it. Yeah. Hey, Calvary, good to see you. NASA is not being deceptive about the shape of the Earth. Sure, keep telling yourself that. The sun goes around and around like a Volkswagen in the Truman Show. Yeah. NASA equals Satan in the T minus 10, 9, 8. NASA literally means liar in Hebrew, dude. Not actually. Okay. Okay, Mark Reid says he also hasn't got it yet, so we're just waiting for him. I think NASA in Hebrew means Nashar, and Nashar, and Nashar is deceptive. So it's just with the R. If they had the R as well there, I think it would have been spelled deceptive, but it's as close deceptive as possible. That Hebrew line is false. Yeah, exactly, Jeff. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen to them. I'm excited about this debate. Like I said, I've set up my opener not as 10 minutes because they didn't tell me how long the opening is going to be, and I set it up a few minutes, well, an hour before the stream last night. So I've just put up 4 arguments for the evening that I want to present, talk about, and then we'll take it from there. And then it'd be great to see what he's, because I mean, if I have to bring up like 10 arguments and give a full 10-minute opening, I don't think he's going to really get what's going on there. So it's going to, I mean, we'll never get through anything. It's good to see you, Lotion. Thank you for coming, mate. It's great to have you abroad. So yeah, it's good to see you. Let's get it on. I don't know where. Okay, got it. Okay, guys, I got the Zoom meeting. Launch meeting. Okay, why is it not launching? Going from the browser. There we go. Meeting password. Passcode is okay. Just put the password in. Flatzoid. Join. Okay. Let's see. Want to see if I can get everything webcam on. There we go. Webcam, join audio. No, my app is not. It says my camera's being used. It's in the system. Renium. OBS. No. Renium webcam. Let's see. Ah, there we go. Okay. So they'll let me know. Okay, guys. Thank you if you're going to send super chats or whatever. It'd be great. Okay. Hello. Can you guys hear me? I can't hear you though. can't hear any sound whatsoever. Why not? Audio. Test speaker, sound system. There we go. Hello? Hello, hello. Hello? Hello? Testing 1, 2. Hello? Nothing. Oh, but she's on the... Mark, can you hear me, mate? Nothing, I guess. Meeting chat. Can't hear you guys. Try not to. Join audio by computer. Won't let me. Nope, nothing. Test mic. Hello, testing 1 2 1 2 testing. Go, hope it's working. Hello, testing 1 2 1 2 testing. Go. Shows on my side everything's good. Microphone icon. There's no microphone icon here. This is really weird stuff. Hey Jeff Gassett, good to see you. Price of Adam, good to see you guys. Okay. Let's see. Skin tone. Video. Video's fine. Receiving. Audio. Background. I don't need background. Statistics. Audio. Share. They don't hear me either. Why is that? Maybe. Okay, this phone call settings. Background. Audio. Test mic. Test mic. Let's test it this way. Can you guys hear me now? Testing 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? Testing 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me now? I've set it. I'll set for my phone and my mic both test perfect. Hey, Natalie's vegan. Good to see you. I hope it works now to everyone. I don't know. Blur my background. Choose background. Video suggestions. It doesn't. I don't understand why it's doing this. Stop incoming video. Okay, I'm gonna quickly leave meeting, and I'm gonna come back because it seems it's not working from their side. Let's go back to the thing. Launch meeting. Otherwise, you know, I'm gonna download Zoom quickly and do it through the app. because if it's not going to work, is it Amy's fault? Says, gosh, good to see you, mate. Mojo Shop, great to see you, Richard. It's good to see everybody. If I'm not going to really talk, you know why, but I think after the stream we can quickly maybe have a quick chat to say thank you to everybody for coming and whatever. Use a password. Flatzoid perspective. Join meeting. Video. Iranian webcam. Okay, join. See if it's going to work this way. Waiting for try speaker. Hello, testing 1 2. I hope it's working now. Try to join with. Okay, I think it's working now. My microphone is working. It shows running. I don't know. Still can't hear you guys though. At all. I don't know if you guys can hear me now. Shows it's okay. Now, sorry, James, I can't hear you guys. Amy, Mark, I don't know if you're using James Goods. Yeah, I don't hear you guys, but it's good to see you guys can hear me. Speaker select, let's see, audio. Audio, speaker select. Oh yeah, I'm going to change my speaker select. Sorry, I had to change that again, you're right. Okay. Okay, my speaker uses.
Testing.
Oh, there we go. Okay, it's on. Sorry about that.
Woo! Oh. That is okay.
It's good to see you guys. How you guys doing?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. What was that?
I said, how you guys doing? It's good to see you.
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, great, thanks. Sorry about that. What a start.
It happens.
Yeah, I had to set my alarm for 3:30. Quickly got up, made coffee, tried to set it up. You know how it goes. Yeah.
And okay, with all you guys here, give me a second to set up your face cams, and we are going live.
Awesome.
And is NASA deceitful? Normally the affirmative takes the beginning, always open to either way. Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think my opening is going to be 10 minutes long though. So I'm only going to give it like 4 points, but I'll try.
That's okay.
That's okay.
I'll try and sort of go through mine quicker then to sort of even up the time. But I do have to share my screen, just be aware, Amy, as always.
That is perfectly fine. I'm going to let that out. In fact, I have only a few rules. One is that if you see me going back and forth, it's not that I'm abandoning the debate. If it's wireless, it's that the cats always reign supreme, but that's generally why I'm moving back and forth. The other thing is I want you guys to have open dialogue. However, oftentimes what I have found, especially recently, is that increments work. And so if it gets too spicy and you guys feel like you can't hear each other, We may go into increments. And if you hear me at the beginning and the end, you'll feel the urge to say hi, and thank you, goodbye, and all that. But I will be going like this, and that means that the music is playing, and you guys will be able to see me, but you won't be able to hear me or the music, but the audience will. And okay.
Can I just wait 1 second? I'm just going to grab some water, Amy, just 1 sec.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to quickly also grab water, sorry.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Cool, yes.
And alright, the only thing, it was 10 minutes, 50 minutes, 30 minutes, unless it was something else, that's just the default, but you may guys have agreed on something different, just checking. But I think we're good to go. 55, 35. The last thing I want to ask, and that is the wrong. Okay. Alrighty then. With that, we are going live, and you're just I'm going to mute you both.
Okay.
And if you wouldn't mind just unmuting yourselves, we're going live. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
Okay, guys, we're going live. Thank you all for coming. You guys rock.
In 3, 2, 1.
Okay, music's playing. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you all for coming. Good to see you. I hope the sound's fine. You guys rock. Let's do this. Always funny to see people dancing.
Woohoo! What is up, everyone, and welcome to Modern Day Debate. We are a neutral, nonpartisan platform welcoming everyone from all walks of life. If you're looking for even more fantastic debates, we are all over the internet, including your favorite podcasting platforms like Apple, Spotify, and Google. So if you enjoy debates, please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. Helps us get out there on the algorithm and get more juicy debates like tonight's Is NASA Deceitful? With our debaters, Reid and Flatzoid, here to help us find out. And if you enjoy what either of them have to say tonight, our guest links are in the description below. You can also tag me in chat at Amy Newman with your questions or comments for our Q&A section. Those super chats will get yours sent right to the top of the list. With that, I'm going to hand it over to the Affirmative for their opening statement. The floor is all yours.
Hey, good to see you. Thank you for this opportunity. I've wanted to be on Modern Debates for a while, so it's good to have a worthy opponent, Reid. So I want to say thank you to you guys, and, well, what can we say? don't know if I'm going to be able to have a 10-minute opening, but I'm going to try my best. So I've decided I'm just going to give maybe 4 arguments, because if I have to give too much, I don't think we'll get through them all. Okay. Is NASA deceitful? I would say yes. Why would I think that, you might add? Well, it's very simple. There are many ways we can present this argument. Argument 1. Yes, NASA is deceitful because they claim to be operating in a place that violates natural law. I'm sure you've heard that many times. What natural law, you may ask? Well, we can start with the first law of thermodynamics. We will start with the first law because it's simply energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred or transformed. The origins of space, and thus NASA's playground, is founded on the violation that nothing can create itself. So that would be deceitful argument number 1, because you cannot have a space, it's a space agency, if it already violates the first law. Space can just not create itself from nothing. Then we can move on to second law of thermodynamics. That is the law of entropy. This law states that entropy will always increase to the surrounding system, and thus it will fill the available space to the surrounding system, aka called space, which is also NASA's playground. So the problem again comes that the Earth is based on the heliocentric belief system as a closed system. Now, what do you think? Well, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is it's considered a closed system, and it has no physical boundary, and matter is not allowed to leave a system in a closed, not allowed to leave the system in thermodynamics if it's a closed system. And so how? Sorry, I'm trying to see where I just lost my.
So I hate to interrupt you,
Yeah.
Flatzoid. It seems like your microphone is coming in a little garbled. I just wonder if you couldn't just check to make sure that it's set to the correct microphone.
Yeah. I'll quickly just check again, because it's set. It works on my side if I test it as well. Maybe should I just sit closer when I talk? Maybe does that work better?
That may be. I'm just sending love out there to you and the audience. And
Okay, I'm gonna just try to talk like this, then to the camera quickly. Then. Okay, so if it's closed system, then you would require a physical boundary because matter is not supposed to leave. Then we got another contradiction problem. You guys claim that astronauts, aka NASA, sending they can go out into space. You got things leaving, which is matter, like sending rovers and everything to the planets. So now I'm going to say we have yet to see any present demonstration where you can have gas pressure without containment. Please note, pointing to the sky is not a demonstration, but a begging the question fallacy without any demonstration to back it up. Also note, this argument shows that you have a lack of understanding that thermodynamic systems work in conjunction with the surrounding system always. This is why the hypothetical system named the isolated system is the universe. It's considered to be the universe. That's argument number 1. So I would like if Marx are able to present us a demonstration that you can have gas pressure without containment. Argument number 2. Why would NASA need to have so much fakery that gets caught out constantly? There would be no need to fake anything if it was real. I mean, there's so much footage out there that's showing it's fake, like using augmented reality and harnesses and all that kind of spiel. Then we get to argument number 3. They use augmented reality and VFX to help sell their product. That's not really something that a space agency needs to use. Yes, space is their product and they use it to sell for people and they fall for it hook, line and sinker. This argument goes further. You may ask, therefore the race to the moon we had to befriend likes like VFX experts. In the line of Stanley Kubrick or Ray Harryhausen. Harryhausen.
I'm sorry, that microphone is still absolutely terrible. I don't think it's the volume. I think it's something to do with the way that it's coming through. I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Let me see if I can
it probably
quickly...
is awful for the audience as well.
Okay.
Well, and what I will do for the...
I'm going to quickly try and see if I can set it maybe to my other mic then.
What I will do for the sake of the audience is, if you want, you can try to reconnect. I have you at 5 minutes, and I will give you not only the 5 minutes, but another 30 seconds or whatever on top of that.
Okay, I'm going to quickly leave it. Okay, so I'm going to quickly leave and give you 1 minute. I'll be back. I'm going to try and set to my other mic then.
Sounds good.
Sure.
To our audience, it may make the...
Guys, I hope it's... I don't know why it's doing that, but yeah. Okay. Join. So I can get my audio set up. Join audio settings, microphone, USB to microphone, testing mic, hello, mic, testing mic, hello. Okay.
Disappeared. However, we have got Flatzoid back. Hopefully his audio is, and here comes Mark Reid back.
Is my sound a bit better now? I've set it to my other microphone.
You actually do sound, I believe, remarkably better. I'll ask.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that I hit the wrong button. I do apologize. Listen, this is not an April Fool's joke. This is a real debate. Like, seriously, this isn't some time thing. So, are you okay to go?
So it looks like because he came back and his sound is good. I know it's already been a back and forth, but I am going to give it back over to him. So
yeah, of course,
no
problem.
And sending love out to you all there. Thank you for being so generous with your time with us. Please keep on following and subscribing, as well as getting those tickets for DebateCon 3.1. But with that, enough of my blabbering. Right back over to you, Flatzoid. I will also add another 30 seconds, minutes, somewhere between that range of time. Floor is all yours again.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so I just said before that argument one was they're deceitful because of the laws of nature. It was the first law of thermodynamics and the second law of thermodynamics. I would just like a demonstration that you can have gas pressure without containment. Okay, argument two, I just said they get caught out constantly. Why would they need to have constant fakery if it was real? And argument three, I was touching on they use augmented reality and VFX to sell their product, because space is their product and many people fall hook, line and sinker for it. This argument goes further to ask, this argument goes further to ask why do they need to befriend the likes of VFX experts in the line of Stanley Kubrick and Harryhausen. This brings my thought of VFX expertise would be employed for space travel. Why would you don't need that for space travel. The argument also comes to that is, well, you could argue they need some advice on the cameras and aperture and so forth because they decided they're going to the moon and all that. But that claim would be conjecture, and they would just they could just contact the product manufacturer about the best settings of space, and specs, because they had the Hasselblad, which they actually fixed their camera, I can say, modded the camera for a vacuum, to say you could say that. But yeah, so I don't see why they would need to get in touch with VFX experts for that. Now you say, You could agree they need, or that's argument 4. Why employ war criminals like Werner von Braun, a person who was against the great nation of America and their ideals, who killed many for this fight for freedom? Seems odd that you would employ a bunch of Nazi scientists to help you, the same people who you would be shamed upon for many lives they took without worry for their ideals in communism. How would the families of the fallen take the news that the same people helping them to get to space travel were the same Nazis who killed their children and family members? So I can bring many arguments, but if it's just not going to get anywhere, so I just thought I'd bring these 4 arguments to light. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you so very much, Flatzoid, for your opening statement. And with that, we're going to hand it over to Mark Reid for your opening statement. The floor is all yours. Because of the way that of our system's handled up, you might have to manually mute, even if...
Yep, okay, fantastic. I'll share my screen this time, and I won't click the wrong button, I promise. Just tell me when it is up on the screen.
You're good to go.
Okay, hello, my name is Mark Reid. Today I am taking the negative of is NASA lying or is NASA deceitful. I thank you for joining me, and I want to thank Amy for moderating and Flatzoid for being my debate opponent. Now, first off, the NASA mission statement is indicative of the way they are inclusive and work for the benefit of all humanity. They do provide a safe, stable working environment for their employees, and sort of it encompasses all of humanity and all of our planet for the benefit of all. So they're very upfront with what their intentionality is. Now, people do point to the cost of NASA, and it's 26 billion, which sounds like a lot, but it's only 0.3% of the entire NASA budget, and you can see that here. Of all the industries and the agencies throughout the US, they're actually one of the smallest agencies in the US, with, of course, defense being much larger, income assistance and healthcare being much larger. So NASA employees, there's about 17,373 employees, 35% are women, 65 men. They are inclusive, so white is the most common ethnicity at 55%, but there is a diverse amount of people working there. If you include all of the other sort of industries that work in the aerospace industry, or the other companies in the aerospace industry, I beg your pardon, sort of like Lockheed and Boeing and all of these companies, the number of employees in the aerospace industry rises to 521,000 workers. 500,000 employees are not lying about what they do. And that does not include all of the aerospace personnel in the 77 aerospace industries across the world. And easily over 1 million people work in aerospace across the world. They're not all lying. This is the 8th straight year for the highest satisfaction of any government agency in the US. They treat their employees well. Overall, the staff are very happy with the leadership. NASA employees, the accountability that they have, they report directly to the President of the United States. The administrator is nominated by the President, but the Senate does have to confirm them. They do have a committee that overviews them, accountability and oversight. That reports to another committee which oversees them, Space and Science. They are subject to law, a coordination of aeronautical and space activities, and freedom of information can access all documents without a problem in accordance with all laws and regulations. So these are some of the NASA discoveries that have actually helped us. I'm just going to go through them quickly. There's been developments in health and medicine, things like space blankets, which we use in first aid kits, transportation, highway safety, chemical detection, things like that. Public safety, like these firefighting suits, which resist heat. And there's a reason why I'm going through this. I'll get to it at the end. Sort of temper phones, baby food, so food preservation, air scrubbers, water purification, solar cells, computer technology. I myself have dabbled with OpenStack, which is a cloud computing product. Software catalog, they've released over 1,600 pieces of software. powered lubricants, mine safety, flood safety. So what I want you to think about going through all of this stuff, these are all technologies you would expect from an institution exploring space and doing aerospace activities. None of it is CGI developments or things that they have developed that have been ways to fool people. All of them have been practical, implementable technologies that, for instance, like those firefighting suits, it's to do with breathing in hostile environments and surviving hostile temperatures, all things that you would expect from an agency participating in space exploration. This is the technology that Flat Earth has produced. Flat Earth movement has actually been around for longer than NASA. They have produced literally nothing, zero, zilch, nothing to help us in any way, shape or form. And now NASA definitely has a higher budget, but you would expect over the 100 of years or 200 years of the 1800s that the Flat Earth movement has started, it would produce something. But no, nothing. Absolutely nothing. NASA is honest about its failures. Its first satellite on the left catastrophically failed, and the Challenger disaster was the biggest failure ever. Now, that took the lives of 7 astronauts and was absolutely catastrophic for NASA's image and detrimental to their overall image. Now, in the aftermath, they participated in reviews, they improved safety systems, they were very upfront in what their failures were and how they failed. This shows that they are honest about what they are doing. Now, okay. This is actually a 3 NASA employees staged a protest at JP Morgan Bank. This employee is Peter Kalmus. He studies biological systems and climate change. With him were a physicist, Greg Spooner, and science educator Alan Chornak, as well as our engineer Eric Gill. He basically said that about the climate change, that we've been trying to warn you guys for so many decades. We're heading towards a catastrophe and we've been ignored. The scientists of this world are being ignored. It's got to stop. We're not joking. We're not lying. We're not exaggerating. Now, this speaks to the strong moral fibre of NASA employees, and you may not agree with them about the subject here, but they will stand up for what they believe. And this guy was arrested for protesting what he believed was right. Flat Earth wants you to believe that people like this are unprincipled and are lying to you. But this is a group of people that will actually get arrested trying to stand up for what they believe. Now, why don't Flat Earthers trust NASA? Eugenie Scott noted basically that usually it is extreme biblical literist theology, and I suspect that's the case in this debate. Dr. Joe Pierre said it was the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect being thinking that you know more than you actually do, think you are an expert, when in fact you are not. And Stephen Novella basically blamed it was partly ignorance and partly motivated reasoning, that you have a motivation to believe something on very weak evidence, but another thing you'll believe, you won't believe on very strong evidence. So why trust NASA? In 100 years of aeronautics, which they have been upfront and honest with their failures as well as their successes, they are accountable to the government through freedom of information, accountable to people. The main question I want you to consider is one that I've asked before. If you don't trust NASA for aeronautic and rocket technology and innovation, if they're lying, then who should we trust to handle aeronautics? Will it be the flat earthers? Will they be calculating delta V and vectors for aeronautics? Is it going to be people just off the street? I can't do that, and I guarantee my opponent can't either. I mean, it's not like it's rocket science. And thank you. That's my presentation. I'm sorry if I rushed through that a bit fast. I did want to equalize the time, but I did have a full presentation.
Not all. Thank you so very much, Mark Reid. And with that, that concludes opening statements. I do want to keep on sending love out there and reminding everyone that DebateCon 3.1 is about to be upon us. Not only are tickets on sale right now, but if you can't come to Texas in person, just for a single $1, you can get that live stream feed and come see more great debates. But again, we're handing it off now to both gentlemen as we go into our 52-hour minutes of open dialogue. The floor is both of yours.
Great.
Well, I ended the thing, so you go, Flatzoid.
Okay, sure.
You start us off.
Okay, first I'm going to say, remember the debate topic is NASA deceitful? Trust has got nothing to do for if they are deceitful or not, so that's already actually wrong, because you don't need to trust someone if you're trying to figure out if they're deceitful or not. It's their intentions which makes them deceitful. That's what deceit means. I did pick up a few points there on where you were talking about people are employed and whatever, so therefore not lying. Let's put it this way. You get a lot of Muslim mosques that employ people worldwide. You would agree that, in your opinion, Muslim is not real, correct?
That's correct, yeah. I don't think it is, well, I mean, I know like sort of Islam is real. I don't think their beliefs are real.
Great, yeah, I would agree with you. So, I mean, to me as well, the foundations of Islam is deceitful because of their morals they stand for and everything. So to me, that's also. But that comes to, so we can say now, based on that same equivalence, they employ many people, so therefore they are not deceitful. So that goes against the argument that you're saying, okay, they have this much employees and everything. And now we can go to how could everybody lie? Well, it's actually simple. It's compartmentalized. If you're going to work in an area that, let's say, just produces the bolts for a certain craft or something that's going to now, say, go to Mars or Venus, it's compartmentalized. You are specifically commissioned to do that bolt. Now, how it works with compartmentalization and the structure of mental governance, you automatically assume what you're doing is real because you're literally creating physical product, and it's for people are paying you and everybody's working together. As you said, consensus says, so therefore it's real. That doesn't mean it's not deceit. The people working in NASA aren't deceiving because they believe it to be real. This is NASA itself deceitful? Can they be trusted? No, because NASA itself, like I said in the opening, they're in a place that violates natural law. And what do they use? They use VFX artists.
Okay, so this is Gish Gallop. You're going on to topic after topic after topic. So I'm going to interrupt here and start to address some of the topics that you've gone through.
Okay.
Because you've gone from deceitful to Muslims to bolts for craft to assuming what you're doing is real, and then you're going on to another topic. So I'm going to cover all of those before we go on. So when you say
I will say that right now it's good and you guys are going back and forth, but if it gets too spicy, we can go into intervals. But Mark, you were speaking, right back to you.
Sure, no problem. Okay, so when deceitful and trust are inherently related, so if somebody's being deceitful, you should not trust them. I'm saying you should trust them because they are being honest. That was the thrust of my presentation. That is the sort of contingency of those oughts. If deceitful, shouldn't trust. Honest, should trust, and that's a very, very basic thing. Now, Muslim mosque, basically you're talking about two different things. You're sort of putting two different categories together because one is a religion and the other is a practical, implementable, scientific agency that is overseen by the government. So when you go to people working in a mosque or praying in a mosque, their beliefs are completely unfalsifiable. There's no way you can falsify a ephemeral god that's somewhere out there. That's just totally unfalsifiable. But the people working in these industries would very quickly see that what they are doing does not match what they've been told to do. And in the history of corporations, we have multiple times over people that have been deceived in these corporations start to understand that what they're doing doesn't match with what they're actually being told. And we see this time and time again in corporations. Sort of just saying that, oh, well, people are just producing bolts. No, that's not what's happening. Usually production of equipment and things, I mean, NASA does do some in-house stuff, but they mostly outsource that kind of production because that's not actually what they're doing. What they're doing is aerospace and aeronautics, which means the study of weight, the design of these things. So, yes, don't get me wrong, there are people producing bolts, but probably not as many as you think. What they would do is they would manufacture somewhere else, have it in-house. There would be engineers constructing things, but those engineers would be taking aeronautic principles into consideration, whether it will fly, essentially. And it's not just space, it also is aeronautics, so the design of planes. You assume what you're doing is real. No, not really. I mean, they've been trained to do what they're doing, and the principles that they have been taught are implemented and then work. Now we can go on to, wherever you want from there, or if you want to respond to any of those.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we'll start first with that. Again, compartmentalization doesn't make it real. It doesn't mean that people are actually lying. Compartmentalization works on the principle that you are mentally governing the people to believe what they are doing is lying. So the people themselves are not the deceivers. It's NASA. Remember, the topic is NASA. So that's NASA as the whole. Now, I disagree with you when you say it's not a religion, because you guys do have a religion because you have to go against natural law. Like I asked in the opening, would you be able to demonstrate us gas pressure without containment, because it goes against the second law of thermodynamics. And like I also stated, the first law of thermodynamics, which created space, also violates natural law, and the whole foundation of NASA is based on these two principles of violation. So we can go with that first.
Okay. Well, compartmentalization, like at least a significant proportion of the population of NASA would have to be lying, because they're all involved in the principles that they've been taught. The people designing the things would have to be lying. The people, the astronauts would have to be lying. The engineers would have to be lying. There would have to be so many liars at NASA, and I wonder how you come by, what percentage is it, and how did you come by this information? Now, gas pressure without a containment, we see that actually in our world, because if there was a container around the Earth, then the gas pressure would equalize. So with a container, the equalization of gas pressure would occur like in any other system we see. So if we have an uneven amount of pressure within, say, a bottle, a gas bottle, and there's only the container around it, all of that gas will equalize to one pressure. They don't have a different pressures going up and down. So the actual fact that there is a gradient of pressure shows there cannot be a container there, or else the gas pressure would equalize. Now, space violates the first law of dynamics? No, it doesn't. No. It basically, entropy says that all, the law of entropy says that all in a closed system, the amount of entropy in total will always increase. And that is completely consistent with the expansion of space. And you're saying, hey, it violates it. How does it violate it? Because you just keep saying that.
Okay. Well, we'll first start on the first law, and then I'll get to the second law again. The first law states that no matter or energy can be created nor destroyed. That means it has to already have been there to be able to have the expansion. So, would you be able to explain to us how the matter was there to expand?
Sure. So, not like when you say it comes from nothing, when Lawrence Krauss sort of used the term nothing, it was kind of misleading and just the title of a book. So, what they actually are trying to say is that the space may have come from a quantum field, essentially. That quantum field has no matter, no energy. So in physics terms, it's nothing, but it's not no thing, like in a philosophical term as nothing there, or there is nothing in my hand kind of thing. We can't have nothing, right? Because if you have nothing, you have something. So nothing is an incoherent concept. But that's not what they're talking about in physics when they talk about no matter and no energy, i.e. what we sort of describe as nothing. They're talking about a background quantum field of quantum particles.
Yeah,
so it's not created. So it's not created.
Yeah. You
and it's not destroyed either.
Matter's always been here.
No.
So then,
No.
so
Even
then
Big
how
Bang
do
cosmology
how do you explain
doesn't say
physical
that.
matter? How do you explain physical matter just popping into existence then?
It didn't pop into existence. Nobody is saying that. That's a complete straw
That's
man.
exactly what first law of thermodynamics, how you
No,
violating.
no. It starts out as energy, right? Matter and energy, and well,
So
I mean,
it had to
matter
be
is
there.
a form of energy, but energy can be changed into matter. You do know that, don't you?
So it had to be there for
Well,
it to be
something
able to
was there.
transform.
Well, something was there.
Yeah. So can you explain to
Yeah.
me the origin of how it was not there but it's there? So it created
What
itself.
you want me to explain how a quantum field collapses?
For the quantum field to collapse, there requires something.
Yeah.
So where was that something if it didn't create itself?
Well, I don't know it did. I don't know where the universe came from. This is the whole point. Nobody is saying that they know exactly where the universe came from. I mean, Sean Carroll basically says, well, if the Big Bang was the start of space and time, then if you're sort of saying what was before space-time, then you're asking an incoherent question. Because if time was at the start of the universe, before is a nonsensical statement. So you're sort of saying, how was the universe, how did it come about? How did it form? And I don't know the answer to that. But you're saying, I presume you're saying God, and you can't demonstrate that one either. That's the problem. Nobody knows for sure where the universe came from. They just assert it to be true. Now, I'm not asserting anything, but I'm saying that it doesn't violate the first law of thermodynamics because the postulation is that that quantum field collapsed into energy, and then that energy had matter. Nothing about that violates the first law of thermodynamics at all. It doesn't, and the end of the universe is heat death. It doesn't violate the second law. Entropy will still rise until heat death occurs when there is no heat anywhere else in the universe. So it's not being destroyed, it's just being particles are so far away there's no interactions between them, i.e. heat death. That doesn't violate the laws of thermodynamics at all.
So you just validated my statement that you don't know where the origins was, stating yes,
Sure.
the energy was there, so it's just there. So that would validate my point. Okay, but now we can move on to the second law.
No, that doesn't. Just because I don't know how something happened doesn't mean you get to tell me that it just popped into existence, because you don't know that.
I know how it popped into existence because we have a supernatural
How did it pop
being.
into existence?
We have a supernatural being that's above natural law, aka God. So he created everything because it's above nature.
Okay, can you
The heliocentric.
Can you demonstrate that?
The heliocentric model is based on nature, not supernatural. So you have to abide by natural laws. God is above natural laws. He's supernatural. He created the natural laws. You understand? So he doesn't need any natural law to create anything. He just creates it. So we have
Just
an
because
origin
you
story.
claim-
You guys don't have origin story.
Well, just because you claim that a supernatural being did it doesn't make it true. It's just your assertion, and it's a hollow base assertion because you can't actually demonstrate how it was done or that a god did it at all. I could claim that a magic unicorn did it and is above natural law. Doesn't make it true. So you don't have an explanation of how it happened. What you have is a crutch, just an explanation post hoc that is inserted, and you say, no, that one is true. And while the honest person will say, hey, I don't know how it occurred, that's the honest truth.
Okay.
But for you to claim something, you're obliged to demonstrate it, which you did not do. All you did is reassert it.
Okay, I'm on the premise, I understand we can't demonstrate it, but I'm on the premise of you take the
Right.
logical argument 1, logical argument 2. Argument 1, nothing created everything because it was just there and then it exploded. Argument 2,
Not
you
nothing.
got something that's above nature we both can't demonstrate it, but the logical inference is supernatural law is more plausible than not supernatural. But that's
Okay,
a
I
mute
just-
argument because you have the one view on it, I have the other.
I just went through how saying it's nothing is a straw man. I just went through that,
That's
and then you just
literally
used
what
it again.
your
No,
model
it
is
is a
of.
straw man, because when we say the universe began, it collapsed. Is a quantum field nothing to you?
It has matter, so it requires something to be there.
A quantum
So
field
it
has
didn't
matter.
Well, you had energy. It had to implode in itself. It means
No.
there's something.
It's something, yes. So if I say a quantum field collapsed into the Big Bang, the origin of the universe was a quantum field, does that mean it was nothing?
Yeah, because something had to be there to collapse.
But you just said that a quantum field was not nothing.
Something had to be there to collapse. Now I'm telling
Yes,
you,
a
on your
quantum field.
inference, it violates the first law of thermodynamics, because nothing
No,
can
it
be
doesn't.
created or destroyed. It can only build off of what's already there.
No, it doesn't. Because when you say nothing can, it is something.
Yeah,
And it
so
can.
what is the building block before something is there?
Quantum field.
It had to have an origin. Origin means it had to have a starting point.
Yeah.
So that means there
Yeah,
was
that's your
something at the
eternal-
starting point.
Okay, so what was the origin of God? It's got to have a starting point.
He's
What's the origin
supernatural.
of God?
He is the origin. He's supernatural. Remember, he's
Yeah,
not
and quantum
naturally
field
bound.
is the origin.
He's-
Everything's got to have an origin, but I might add, is not the topic of this debate. You've gone completely sidetracked onto this. I don't get how, whether or not that statement is true, it is what the scientists at NASA believe, that they don't know the origin, but it could be a quantum field, right? They believe it. Are they being deceitful if they believe that's the case? No, they are not. They're being honest with the information that they have. If I truly believe that I can summon a giraffe, if I absolutely believe that, am I being deceitful? No, I'm not. Deceitful means you're purposely and intentionally lying. So even if your explanation of, it betrays the first, which it doesn't, if they believe that to be the case, that that's within the laws of thermodynamics, then they are not being deceitful. They are being honest.
And that I have to agree with you, because if that goes against the first law,
Well,
of
then why are we
thermodynamics,
going over this?
Then that means they're being deceitful. But like I said, this is going to be mute because you have a view on it, I have a view on it. Let's move on to the second law on why it's being deceitful. They're
Right.
being deceitful. So
The second law is
stated
container
closed-
pressure, yeah.
Sorry. So you stated a closed system will always just seek equilibrium, therefore no pressure gradients. That's false, because we live in a dynamic system. By the way, pressure gradients comes after having gas pressure, which requires the containment to have the pressure in the first place. There's a lot of reasons we do have pressure gradients in the system and can be demonstrated. So my ask to you is, can you show us a demonstration where you do not need containment to have this gas pressure?
Well, the only place that we don't have containment is around large mass bodies, but we can sort of tell there's a pressure gradient. So what if there is a container? You're saying you have to have a container and have pressure, right? So if there is a container, why doesn't it equalize?
Because we live in a dynamic system. We got
That doesn't
cycles.
mean anything.
Yes, we got cycles.
How does that work? What's the actual process of that working? What is keeping it from equalizing?
Gas behavior. Remember, if you have on
No,
Earth,
no,
Yes, gas
no.
behavior.
Gas doesn't have a behavior.
gas
No,
doesn't
it just
have a
follows
behavior. Are
natural
you
law.
serious saying that? Gas doesn't have a behavior.
What do you mean? Can you describe that? What behavior are you
When
talking
you
about?
change temperature of a gas, what happens to it? Its behavior. What changes?
It either expands or
So
contracts.
gas has a behavior then. So you're going to concede gas has a behavior.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So you have temperature changes, you have volume changes in the full system, you have pressure changes. All these things are interlinked to create the pressure gradient. At ground level,
Okay. Do you have the calculations for this, please?
you
can you
use
cite
the
me
ideal
something
gas
that
law
sort of
if you
says
wanted
this?
to. because your whole
Well,
atmospheric.
well, just give me the calculations you have on the changes in gas density that would cause this, and you know, I can have a look at them.
You don't need to obfuscate from trying to move from you demonstrating.
No, you've made a claim. You've made a claim that the density of gas will change the pressure gradient. Now you need to demonstrate that that is in fact the case. So if you could produce that, that would be great.
I can show you demonstrations where gas pressure, where we have containment with pressure gradients. But we first need you to support the premise that you can have gas pressure without containment. That requires demonstration from you first.
Okay, so gas pressure, right? When it contracts, there's more air molecules, right? Because it's contracting.
Yeah.
And when it is warm, it expands, which means there's less molecules, correct?
Correct.
So why is it that towards the Earth, where it's warmer, right, and it's colder up the top, are there less air molecules when there should be, is there more air molecules when there should be less because it's warm? And higher up where it's cold, there's less air molecules, where if it was contracting, there should be more. Explain that one.
No, when it's contracting, that means it's moving slower. Remember, when you're on the ground, there's more for the gas particles to hit off of. There's more of a collaboration of all gases. So you've got trees to hit off, you've got mountains to hit off, people, you've got all the cycles of the densities of gases down on the lower level. So it's more compact. Now when you go higher up, there's more area to fill. Now most of those dense gases are still hitting all over on the lower ground because it's more compact. The more you go up, the less moles you have to hit off of a wider area. Now you've also got temperature to play and everything. But remember, the temperature play with a less amount of, that's why you got Avogadro's law, because you got the amount of gas in a certain area, which gives the pressure. So if you've only got, let's say, 5 moles that's gone up at a certain altitude and it gets hotter, you still only got that amount of moles hitting around in a wider area, therefore the pressure is lower. Now again, you still haven't demonstrated gas pressure.
Wait, you're gish galloping again. Stop. You're going over point by point by point. I will address every single point, so you've got to stop doing this.
I'm gonna just allow Flatzoid, you have 30 more seconds to finish up your point, and then we're gonna hand it over to Mark.
Okay, yeah, so I just explained to you in very simple terms why we have pressure gradients. Now, I'm still asking you, please demonstrate gas pressure without containment.
Yeah, so this is weird because you basically said, oh, well, mountains and things like that are what causes the pressure gradient, which is one of the most ridiculous statements I've ever heard in my entire life. Mountains and people and the ground and telephone poles, I guess, and there's more area up the top, so that's why it occurs. There is no sort of temperature that will cause this gradient. And the simple fact that you cannot produce any kind of documentation or any kind of calculation to show that temperature will produce this gas gradient rather than gravity is kind of ridiculous. And it also seems to indicate that you don't understand what the gradient is at all. You have much more air at lower altitudes than you do at higher altitudes, right?
Avogadro's constant. I explained it.
No, you didn't explain it because you didn't actually say how it occurred. You just made a claim that it is something that makes it and then blamed it on mountains and the ground. Which is a weird statement because the pressure gradient doesn't just go from mountains and then quickly go into a small gradient. There's a gradient, so it goes all the way up, getting thinner and thinner and thinner as it goes up. But none of this sort of says why NASA is being deceitful at all, because your entire argument seems to want to shift it into, oh, well, I'm going to prove that Earth is flat, which isn't the topic of the debate. So you're just doing a dodge and switch. So explain why NASA is being deceitful, because the onus is on you. You have to, I'm basically saying, hey, they believe what they say. They believe that the Earth is round. They aren't lying about it. You're saying they're lying about it. Prove that they're lying about it. Don't ask me for proof.
By natural law, they're lying about it. You require containment. Otherwise, entropy will increase and it will move into the surrounding system. Now, again, you've obfuscated. Remember, they're lying because we are in a closed system. They are saying we're going out of that closed system into space. Now, to have an open system adjacent to another system, the higher pressure will always equalize to the lowest system. I've explained the reason why we have lower moles. It's called Avogadro's law. It's the Boltzmann constant. Okay, I've given you reasons. Now I'm waiting for you to show how you can have gas pressure out containment, because NASA's deceitful because they know you need containment and they're claiming to go through that containment that has no boundary. So that's why they're
So here's the thing. You keep quoting natural law, and gravity is a part of that natural law. You're just trying to change what the natural law is so it does not include gravity, and that is entirely dishonest. Just because you don't understand physics doesn't mean that gravity doesn't exist, and gravity does exist. You have to explain why natural law suddenly doesn't include gravity, which you haven't done. So perhaps you could prove that gravity doesn't exist. Perhaps you could include some calculations and some actual things that you have done to demonstrate it. What experiments have you carried out? What have you done? Because I can name the experiments we have done to prove gravity. The Cavendish experiment, the vacuum chamber dropping of different articles experiment. I can name experiments you can do yourself to show that gravity exists.
Well, the debate's not about gravity. I haven't said the word once until now. Secondly,
it's not about pressure gradients either.
Secondly, you cannot demonstrate gravity holding gas indefinitely in an open system. Again, the onus is of you to prove or demonstrate gravity can hold the gas down without the need of having containment. Pressure can only exist in containment, and therefore relies back to my first argument. NASA is lying because if it's an open system, we would not be able to have gas pressure, to have the pressure gradients. If it's a closed system, 100%. But then they can't claim to go to the place they're going to. So yes, NASA is deceptive.
No, they're not deceptive. Gravity is a thing. We can measure slight changes in pressure due to gravity inside some containers. Definitely can. The whole thing is that in order to demonstrate and sort of so Flatzoid's going to an unfalsifiable claim kind of thing, or basically requesting proof that is outside of what is possible to demonstrate. Because in order to show the gravity of Earth and its effects, you need something the mass of Earth, and that is the Earth. And we can see sort of atmospheric pressure gradients on other planets that have mass as well. But, Flatzoid will then just beg the question and sort of say, oh, well, that's not real. We haven't been there kind of thing. Okay. So it's just sort of a article of faith. And we could see him go to the faith article. That's all it is. It's an article of faith that it can't be real, as in my presentation, the first reason this has been studied by psychologists. Okay. So the whole thing is, if you have a container, like a bottle or something, and you have gas within it, it will not make a pressure gradient. Even if one side is warm, like you warm it up on the bottom, and it's cool on the top, it will not make a pressure gradient. The only way that can happen is by gravity. That is the only way.
And if I can...
No, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
And if I can bring up a demonstration showing you wrong?
Go for it.
But anyway, back to what I was stating. Can you show me... what does it say? You were saying gravity is the reason for pressure gradients, correct?
Why does low pressure follow high pressure?
No, I asked a simple question. That's what you're saying. Gravity is the reason for pressure gradients.
In the atmosphere, yes.
Okay.
Does
this would
now?
then
I want to
this-
ask a
this should
question.
be-
I want to
then this-
ask a question. I want to ask a question.
been
I
talking the whole
answered
time,
yours.
Mark. Give me a
Does low
chance.
pressure follow high pressure?
Yes. That's how gas pressure.
Then
that's
why
how-
doesn't it do that in the atmosphere?
I explained it. Because of gas behavior
No, you
in
didn't.
a
You
larger
gave an
system.
excuse.
Remember, the larger the volume, the easier it is to have the pressure gradients.
Then
Okay.
why does low pressure follow high pressure in our atmospheric weather systems?
Easy. Because
Oh,
you've
high
got
pressure
gas
follow low pressure in
behavior.
our atmospheric systems.
Okay, let me just.
Yeah, and that is the
Show my
behavior. In our
screen.
atmospheric systems, high pressure follows low pressure. Why does that not happen in the atmospheric
It
gradient?
does.
Why?
It does.
It
It's called-
does.
Entropy is the
It
arrow
does.
of
So-
time. Entropy is the arrow of time.
If that was the case, there would be an upwards wind constantly because lower is always a higher pressure.
Again, remember, gas behavior. Now, this, like I'm getting, you are obfuscating from showing your point. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
We can.
Okay, so I'm not going to play the sound, but good time for all. He took a canister, he welded a gauge on the top, and he put it in a ice bucket. He's got another gauge on the top that's linked to the bottom of this closed canister. It's in a ice bucket. He's heating up the top. He's getting a difference in pressure reading from the top of the container to the bottom of the container. So therefore, it's a
Yeah,
demonstration.
he's heating up the top.
Pressure gradient in a closed container, which you just said is impossible to demonstrate. Now I'm going to ask you again. Please show me a demonstration. He's
where
going
is
to show
the
you
heat
now. He's
coming
going
from?
to the top to show you the difference. He's heating it up first. Let's go to,
Where is the heat coming from?
in this demonstration, the heat gun.
No, in Earth's atmosphere, where is
The
this
sun.
heat coming from?
The sun.
The sun. So the top is heating up.
Through less amount of gas. Remember we talked about Avogadro's law?
No.
Yes.
Less
Yes,
amount
yes.
of gas. You're saying that the heat is causing the less amount of gas.
No.
It can't be that heat is being applied to a less amount of gas if the less amount of gas is already there.
If you got 5 small
What is causing it?
If you got 5 moles in a larger area and it gets heated up, it's still just 5 moles. They're just moving faster, they're expanding more. Now if you go
Okay.
lower where it's more compressed, it's together, you have now 50 moles, for instance. The pressure is going to be
Okay.
higher there because there's more moles to bombard off of something. Hence, pressure
Yeah, I
gradient.
realize you misunderstand physics. So if you put a thermometer at the top of this, would it be hotter or colder than the bottom?
The pressure was higher at the top because it was
No,
hotter.
not would the pressure? Would the thermometer be hot? Would the air be hotter at the top or the bottom?
Sorry, the air pressure?
No. Would the air temperature be hotter at the top or the bottom?
On the demonstration I just showed you,
Yes.
it's cold at the bottom because it's in an ice bucket.
Right.
The pressure was lower,
Right.
bottom up.
And that is the equivalent of the sun striking our atmosphere, right? Correct?
Okay, go on.
Yes?
Make your point.
And then it should be hotter at the top and colder at the bottom, correct? That's what you
No.
just said.
No, the demonstration was you can provide, that if I can provide you pressure
Yes.
gradients in a closed containment using gas behavior. Heating up a gas, remember that containment when it comes in, it's at equilibrium. It's not pressure gradient. So it's got the same moles at the top as the bottom of the container. Everywhere. It's in equilibrium. Then he
Yes,
puts
and
in,
that heat is the sun, right?
yeah, this is not about the sun, this is about gas behavior itself. Then he puts
No.
in the ice
You
bucket.
said that heat is the sun because I asked you where the heat in the atmosphere comes from, and you said the sun.
Yeah, but
Right?
is the Earth in equilibrium?
What does it matter?
It matters. That
You're saying
containment-
without this principle, it would be in equilibrium, right?
Why are you talking over me? If he has a container It's already in equilibrium. He then puts it in an ice bucket. Therefore, the container is becoming colder. With
and the air on the bottom is colder,
Great.
right?
So then he puts up the heat at the top. Then it starts
The
having
sun.
a pressure gradient because the gas on the top is what's being heated. The gas at the bottom is not. Therefore, gives a different in pressure readings. Now with Earth, it's simple. We've already got the conglomerate of the gases lower down and less moles at the top. Less moles to get heated up, more moles
Why
to
is
get
that?
heated up. You get it? And radiation works going through and radiating the ground, which causes more heat at the bottom.
But why, if the source of the heat up the top is the sun, is the bottom, right?
Avogadro's
Because
law.
your example, this is why your example does not work in the slightest, because you have a system where you're making the top hot and the bottom cold. And the problem with that is that if that was the Earth's atmosphere, then that would be reversed.
Remember,
Because it is warmer towards the Earth than it is towards the top.
I've already
You
explained
can't claim that it is temperature that does it and then explain and basically then flip it around so that it's colder at the top for the Earth and then warmer at the bottom. You have just disproved your entire experiment.
Sorry.
Congratulations.
First of all, it wasn't an experiment, it was a demonstration. Secondly, you asked me if I'd be able to demonstrate, actual demonstration, having gas pressure gradients in a closed container, which I just simply done now. Now you've realized that you have a faux pas
Okay.
because you have not yet demonstrated your claim, gas pressure without a container. So would you please demonstrate
You have
your
not
claim?
actually given any of those readings that you have taken to see whether that would work in the Earth's atmosphere. You do realize that, don't you? That you can't. You basically just said, "Hey, there's a difference in pressure. What was the temperature? What was the pressure?" You haven't recorded any of that. You've just said, "Hey, this will work because I've made it something work in my thing." You realize how unscientific that is. That when you're talking about something, you really should have. And this is what I'm asking for. I'm asking for your independent variables and your dependent
I didn't say
variable.
science.
That if, hey,
Format.
I change the temperature for this amount over this amount of gas in this space, then the dependent variable will change by this amount.
sorry.
And the problem is that flat earthers refuse to provide any of this because they can be shown to be wrong through natural laws. But he basically wants to say, well, gravity's not a natural law, we'll throw it out, doesn't matter, while at the same time proving that just using heat won't actually make this work.
Yet I'm the one demonstrating gas behavior in containment. You, on the other hand, just saying, nah, you don't understand. You believe the Earth is flat.
I can demonstrate gravity. And
Gravity
without any
holding
gas whatsoever.
Down, gravity holding gas down indefinitely. Can you show gravity holding gas down indefinitely? Because
I
it
can
doesn't
show
matter
gravity.
which. It doesn't matter which gas you take. You can take a fish tank of sulfur hexafluoride. It will
So-
disperse.
Let's get
What
on to
is
gravity
this?
then. If gravity is true, then why do, say, in a vacuum chamber, feathers and a bowling ball hit
That's
the
not
ground
gas.
at the same time?
That's not gas. We're talking about gas.
I don't
Gas
care.
is
It's
unbonded.
gravity. I'm talking
Gas
about
is
gravity.
unbonded
I'm talking about
homogeneous-
gravity. I'm talking about gravity.
Again, gas behavior of a gas. Gravity on gas behavior of a gas and on a physical, how can I say, bowling ball or something. A bowling ball is not a gas particle. There's two different things. So you can't false
Are you saying
equivalent-
gas is
It's a false
unaffected by
equivalence.
gravity?
It's a false equivalence. We're talking about gas behavior. So I want you to show us a demonstration where gravity, that's not actually even a force, can hold down indefinitely gas particles.
Sure. So we just have to have a heavy gas. That's all.
Sulfur hexafluoride, which you say is a very dense gas, correct? One of the densest gases
I'm
you
sorry?
can get. Do you know there's still dispersion with sulfur hexafluoride?
What's a heavy gas?
Sulfur hexafluoride.
I'm sorry, you asked me to find something then. Okay, so this is the problem. You have gases of two different masses, right? Two different mass.
Yeah.
One will go lower than the other.
Yeah,
One
because
will settle to the bottom. One will be
they
higher.
never settle though. They're always conglomerate.
They
That's
never
what's
say.
Dalton's law. Do you understand Dalton's law?
Okay, so, but you do realize that one's going to be pulled lower than the other,
They
right?
don't get pulled. Gas moves in all directions, not just one direction.
But what? Okay, so I feel like you're just being willfully ignorant here. That basically, if you have a
provided me with
light
any
gas
demonstrations,
like
nothing.
hydrogen,
You chanting
okay, so if
something
you have
I
a
never-
container, hang on a second, if you have a container with hydrogen and oxygen, which one will be at the bottom?
They will mix if it's a closed container, correct?
Oh my!
You said,
Really? Is that what you think?
You claimed a closed
Which one
container will
will-
seek equilibrium, did you not? That was your claim.
Yeah,
Great. So why are they not
Yeah.
in equilibrium then?
because they're not the same gas. They're not the same density.
You
They're
know
not the same mass.
Do you know how Dalton's law works?
Our air and atmosphere is. This is the worst argument I've
you
ever heard.
conceding-
But you're
so you
claiming to
conceding
believe. You're claiming to believe that if you put a light gas like hydrogen and a heavier gas like oxygen, they're just going to intermingle in a container, which is
Dalton's
the
law.
most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. That is just so
You know,
silly.
you just literally conceded that you could have pressure gradients in a closed container, which you said 10 minutes ago is impossible by your own admission.
No, that's because they are different gases.
So pressure gradient in a closed system then. Different gases. We have different gases in our atmosphere.
But they don't. Then what? That's ridiculous because it was a closed container. All of the oxygen would go down to the bottom. That's ridiculous.
Okay, so again, you understand how gas works. It moves in all directions. There's still the denser gas
Yes.
also high up, just a less amount of it.
So what if that were true, then hydrogen would not have the buoyant properties that it does.
You think there's no hydrogen here at ground level?
No,
Not
I
even
do.
any percent of hydrogen at all.
No, I do.
And you think that, remember, like I said, Dalton's law, we have a certain amount
Yes,
of differences
because you're
of gases,
talking.
which is totally bombarding into each other at every single
Okay,
altitude you
so-
go to.
Why does a balloon full of helium rise then?
Because it's less dense and the pressure around it
Okay.
forces it up.
Okay. So how do you calculate density?
I'm not here to calculate this. You're obfuscating from demonstrating gas.
No,
pressure
how do you
I
mentioned
don't need to do
density? How do
anything.
you calculate
I don't
density?
need to do anything until
How do you
you
calculate
demonstrate
density?
the gas
How do you
pressure out of
It's a
container.
question. How do you calculate density? Don't dodge. Don't dodge. How do you calculate it?
I can counter this by saying Archimedes' principle predates gravity by 1,900 years. So therefore,
Doesn't matter. So
it does matter.
Look,
How did
leeches
ships
predate
sail?
modern
How did
medicine. It doesn't
Archimedes'
mean they
principle-
work better.
How did Archimedes'
Oh.
principle work without gravity, Mark?
And you
Okay,
guys
just-
are starting to talk over each other.
Sorry.
But I love actually enthusiasm. It's actually been a fantastic debate. So thank you, Mark and Flatzoid. We have about 15-20 more minutes of open discussion before we switch into the Q&A. Please keep
Okay.
on sending me all of your questions at Amy Newman. But with that, Mark, Flatzoid, the floor is yours once again.
Okay, density is mass over volume. Mass divided by volume, right? And how do you calculate mass?
PVM, no, I'm saying, I'm not moving to gravity.
You
Because-
calculate mass because
listen.
you won't answer the question. You calculate mass
Archimedes'
with
principle,
gravity.
you still obfuscating. Archimedes' principle did not require gravity when it was prescribed. Archimedes predated, I think it's like 1,900 years or something, before Newton came up with the force of gravity. Yet we had ships working on Archimedes' principle for 1,000 years. Now,
Archimedes' principle is displacement.
exactly, of pressure, not gravity.
Right.
Gravity,
So how
gas
does
is
displacement?
You just said buoyancy.
How does displacement work in a vacuum chamber?
Easy. It's still working. If it's a vacuum chamber, it's just less moles. They're still bouncing around in the vacuum chamber. And hence, you still haven't provided evidence of gas pressure without containment.
So the Archimedes' principle does not work without gravity and mass, because the more mass that you put into water, the more it displaces. So the more
Pressure.
weight it has.
So more
And in
pressure
order
then.
to calculate weight you do need to have gravity.
No, you don't. It's just pressure.
Yes, you do. How do you calculate? What's the calculation for weight then?
It's pressure displacement. Now again, you're obfuscating
No. What's the calculation for weight? You said you could calculate weight without gravity.
You're trying very hard to obfuscate from your point. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
NASA is deceptive because the Earth is classified as a closed system which lets matter through, so therefore it can only be open. Therefore, we could not have air pressure to have the pressure gradient. Your affirmative bias here is we do have an open system. I therefore can have gas pressure without containment. Please demonstrate it, Mark. I think this is the 30th time I've asked.
No. You don't get away from this. You don't dodge and run,
You're the one
sir.
dodging, not me.
You said that, hang on, this is my turn to talk. You said that you could calculate weight without gravity. So what is the equation for your calculation of weight without appealing to gravity?
Okay,
what is it?
I'll tell you something. I'll give you it.
What is it?
I'll give it to you.
Go for it. No, that's all I want. That's all I want.
I will give it to you
What
once
is it?
you've demonstrated gas pressure without containment.
Yeah, the Earth. That's gas. No, well, it's atmospheric pressure. Actually, it's not gas pressure. So you're kind of conflating the
Dalton's
two,
law.
because atmospheric pressure is not the same as gas pressure.
What's argon?
So the fact that gravity
What is
works
argon?
on our atmosphere gives atmospheric pressure. But now you can give. You don't need me
What
to
is
answer
argon?
anything else to give the equation. Hang on, to give the equation of weight without appealing to gravity. See, you know you can't do it. You know you have no equation without gravity, and that's why you're not giving it.
So, gentlemen, we have 15 more minutes. We're going to do 1 or 2 minute increments, but you can feel free to give up your time as whenever you want. But Mark just talked. Flatzoid, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Again, I appreciate it. Again, Mark, the topic was NASA is deceptive. My argument one was why they are deceptive is because they're claiming to do something that violates the natural law. I can't help you don't understand how gas behavior works. The atmo falls under every single gas law there is. Dalton's law literally just debunked you because it's the conglomerate of gases, argon, nitrogen, CO2, oxygen, or whatever. So therefore, gas still has to abide by gas laws. Just because you have a belief that it's atmosphere doesn't take away the gas behavior. It's still gas that has to abide by gas behavior. So one last time, can you provide us any demonstration, not pointing to the sky, that's a belief, any demonstration that the reason we have these pressure gradients without the gas moving anywhere, without containment? Show us a demonstration, please.
Yeah, there's plenty of demonstration with sufficient gravity to do it. Plasma, for example, is a demonstration when the plasma of stars and things can actually cause a pressure gradient without actually having a container around it, and we know this can happen upon massive objects. Even in very large containers, we can.
Can I counter that quickly? Can I count that quickly? First of all,
no, you can't.
When you create plasma,
and
you
this is just a
require
dodge
container.
because, hang on, no, this is my time. Have some decorum, sir.
We're going to hand it back over
Absolutely
to Mark,
ridiculous.
but then hand it right over to you, Flatzoid.
Yeah, learn to take your... Like, I gave you all the time you wanted and you just jump in. It's really disgusting. Yeah, and this is just a dodge because he wants to sort of go to flat Earth and not whether NASA is lying. It's just a flat Earth debate dressed up in sort of lipstick kind of thing. He hasn't actually demonstrated why NASA is lying at all. He just has a faith belief. He believes there's a God. He believes that the Bible says the Earth is flat and therefore it's flat. It is a religious belief, and we've heard that out of his own mouth when he starts talking about the origins of the universe, which he can't demonstrate. And just because his misunderstandings of physics, he wants to say, hey, that doesn't work according to natural law, but gravity is natural law, so he doesn't get to make that appeal. He's trying to say that a part of our scientific understanding is wrong without having to prove it wrong. We have observed in stars, on the planet, all over the place, that atmospheric pressure, and that's atmospheric pressure, not gas pressure, atmospheric pressure can exist without a container.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, like I said, I can get it When you create plasma, you require a chamber, a container. And by the way, since when is on Earth we breathing in plasma? We're not breathing in plasma. Secondly, again, you have yet to demonstrate gas pressure without container. The one that's not understanding physics here is clearly you, Mark, not me. Secondly, we've been showing, you've just been saying this whole time, now our belief. And you should stop going and making arguments on my behalf. The only reason is because of God. No, mate, I believed in God way before I became a flat earther. Secondly, like I stated, Archimedes' principle worked way long before your beloved gravity concept came to being. Thirdly, gravity is not a force, and that violates then F equals ma if you say it's not a force. So it's either a force or it's not a force. Okay? Still, I'm keeping you to show me gravity holding down gas pressure without the need of containment. You can't do this. All gas laws still abide to your atmospheric belief. Dalton's law, Avogadro's law, Boyle's law, Charles Gould-Sachs law, it doesn't matter which gas law you want to claim, they all require containment. Okay? It's as simple as that. So NASA is lying because space cannot exist the way they say it is to exist. You need containment.
30 seconds.
No, so all of these talk about gas pressure within a container, and that's the dodge that he's doing. That's what they're applied to. But they're not applied to atmospheric pressure, and that's where he's doing the dodge. And so there's only one person here lying, and that is Flatzoid, because he doesn't understand physics in the slightest. Because the hilarious part, the hilarious part is a flat earther basically going, no, gravity's not real, you don't understand physics. Appeals to natural law when gravity is within natural law. And I never said gravity's a force, so that's a total straw man. Gravity is the bending of space-time, which he suddenly says, oh no, it doesn't work throughout all of these things. So I wonder when Flatzoid is going to publish his paper on the non-existence of gravity and get a Nobel Prize. Remember earlier I went over Dunning-Kruger, where people think they have more expertise than they do. Basically, what we have here is the classic case of Dunning-Kruger. We have a person who is not trained in physics. So I'm appealing to physicists, people who do know what they're talking about. You're appealing to your own mistakes, ignorance, and misunderstandings of the subject of physics. So when's your Nobel Prize going to be awarded to you, Flatzoid?
Okay, again, you saying I am not a physicist or whatever, it's just appealing to authority. I don't have to care what authority says, just like you don't. I abide by natural laws like everybody. The argument here is we require gas pressure without containment. You're not understanding that all gas has to abide by gas behavior is not my misunderstanding, it's yours. And by the way, your atmospheric belief is based on Dalton's law, Avogadro's law, Boyle's law, and Charles Gould-Sachs law, which are all gas behaviors. Now, you can tell me, oh, gravity, all you want. Again, you require force to have an acceleration, so therefore, no force, no pulling of gases. I 100% agree. Gravity is not a force. I never even brought it up saying gravity is a force or not. All I said was, based on your model, it's not a force. So, if F equals ma is true, then gravity can't do any, can do it, but then it's not gravity. If it's not true, then the other way around. That's it.
Yeah, so it's funny that he appeals to natural laws and then can't even give a single equation for weight and no equation at all, because all of these laws are written up in science as equations. But the problem with Flatzoid and other flat earthers is they don't want to provide equations because then their work can be checked. They're like a little boy going, hey, I've got all the answers. And then when the teacher says, hey, well, give me your actual calculations, they say, no, you're not allowed to check it. It's childish, it's unscientific, it is absolutely dishonest, because they know as soon as they actually provide any calculations, they're going to be checked. And when they're checked, they're going to be wrong. And I think deep down Flatzoid knows this. And that's why he desperately avoids giving any calculations whatsoever. So if you could give me the calculations of weight, that would be great, Flatzoid. Go for it. Give it to me now. I'll see.
Again, I don't require to give you anything because you haven't given what I've asked for this whole debate. I said I will give you an equation on Archimedes' principle without gravity if you demonstrate gravity, holding gas pressure, having gas pressure without containment. That's what you have obfuscated from this whole debate. Now again, if you even know how weight works, it's not pulling. It's the pressure that's applied to a scale. A scale works with load cells. It works on pressure. It's pressure mediation. That's it. It's got nothing to do with gravity, even though your belief says it's gravity. There's no pulling force, so therefore it cannot be gravity giving weight. It is simply the pressure applied to the scale. So please provide your demonstration of gas pressure without containment.
Yeah, so that's a complete misunderstanding of what gravity is. It's not supposed to be a force. It's the bending of space-time that causes things to fall towards objects of mass. Like, just because Flatzoid doesn't understand it doesn't mean it's not real. Now, I've gone on to say, hey, I can demonstrate it within demonstrate gravity on objects within a vacuum chamber where there is no gas. And he says, no, that's not good enough. It has to be a gas. So for some reason, Flatzoid thinks that gravity doesn't work on molecules the same. He thinks that for some reason, gas is in its own special category. So we talk about being against natural laws. The whole idea that there are effects that he uses special pleading for to say, hey, gravity doesn't affect gas. For some reason, it's all up to gas behavior, but doesn't actually, like, he wants me to demonstrate gravity, but only on gas is just ridiculous. Like, the whole idea, he is so dishonest. And he will not give equations. He won't give equations because he knows it's wrong. And yes, it is up to him, because I said that gravity is part of a calculation of weight. And he said, no, it isn't. So I said, well, give me your calculation of weight. He has made a claim that it's not part of it, but will not actually back that claim. And that is why you should not believe a word he says. He's lying.
So
before I let you go on, Flatzoid, I'm going to give each of you one more round of back and forth, and then I'm going to let you both have closing statements, tell people what you got going on the interwebs. But right back to you, Flatzoid, for your last of the open discussion.
Thank you very much, Amy. Yeah, it's very simple. I said I can give you an equation if you've done what I've asked first this whole debate. Demonstrate to me gas pressure without a container. I can literally take that G constant and change it to P for pressure if I wanted to. It would give the same results. Your gravity belief is only the ideal that it's pulling mass attracting down to mass. And I 100% agree, gravity is not a force. So therefore, F equals ma is then false, according to your belief. And just call me dishonest and ad homing me constantly is not showing good for your cause. It's just showing you cannot demonstrate your belief system to be real. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Flatzoid, for your last back and forth, and then Mark Reid handing it over for your last back and forth.
Yeah, so he hasn't shown anything, because when you ask him how you calculate the equation, he won't be able to tell you what P is or how to calculate it at all. And he's not giving any kind of readings or measurements for his equation. So I'll look forward to your paper being published, Flatzoid, about how you calculate weight without gravity. I'm sure you've done tremendous work on it. As I pointed out, flat earthers have not produced anything of note in the entire time they've been around, and Flatzoid is no exception. He does not understand physics. He doesn't understand the role that gravity plays in physics. He doesn't understand anything about it. He's just basically making assertions and then requesting unproducible things because he knows you need the mass of a planet. But we have observed plasma in stars. We have observed the Earth using gravity to pull it down. We've observed gravity. If a container is holding it, then what I want Flatzoid to do is show me the container. Where's your proof of the container? Give me the container. Where is it? Give me a piece of it.
And with that, we are going to conclude the open discussion. We're about to be moving into the Q&A. So tag me with your chats, questions, and super chats at Amy Newman. However, Flatzoid, I want to hand it over to you one last time. If you would like anything final to say on the subject and tell people what you got going on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, just a quick thought. Thank you, Mark, again for this debate. It wasn't actually a challenge for me, sorry to say. Just ad homing and call me understand just shows your level of ignorance to the subject. Yes, when you talk about gas behavior, I'm sorry, I'm having my closing statement. When we have gas pressure, we are talking about gas behavior and gravity then, as you put it. So having a false equivalence of a bowling ball is not going to work. Secondly, I have shown an actual demonstration and got you to actually concede in Omniscient that you can have pressure gradients in a container, which you said earlier wouldn't work. I have stated natural laws which are in nature always accepted and always provable. You have appealed to a belief system that's not demonstratable. By the way, lower ground should have stronger gravitational pull. So therefore gravity should be stronger at the bottom of mass, and therefore gas would always just pull there, and we will always die because we would just the whole time breathe CO2 because of gravity. It's the stronger the more mass attracts more mass, correct? So no. But thanks again. Yeah, I'm just going to say I do have a channel, so yeah, do look me up. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so very much, Flatzoid. And we're about to go into the Q&A, but Reid, the floor is all yours for your closing statement and what you got going on.
Yeah, so we can see in sort of containers that we do have gases separate. There's a gravity method for separating gas. In fact, fluids do exactly the same thing. It's just that gas does mix a lot more because the particles are less. There's more space in between the particles, meaning it can mix a lot more. But we do have separation, and we do have separation of fluid. And you know, this sort of ad hoc. Flatzoid has been saying exactly the same thing, that I don't know the physics. I'm not appealing to my knowledge of the physics. I'm appealing to physicists' knowledge of the physics who absolutely refute Flatzoid and can explain all of this. I never claim to be an expert, but Flatzoid isn't an expert either. In fact, he's suffering from Dunning-Kruger, which is sort of thinking he's an expert when he's not. He doesn't understand that gravity is a natural law. And he's sort of saying, hey, it's outside natural law. What he is describing is outside natural law because gravity is a natural law. That's what it is. So the entire thing is he's just projecting. He's sort of saying, hey, you don't know the physics. He doesn't know the physics. The physicists all say that he's wrong. He's dodged completely his NASA lying. He just wants a flat earth debate. That's all he's after. So he's been really dishonest in the way that he's asked for a debate, sort of saying, hey, we'll discuss one topic. Oh, I want to discuss flat earth now. So, you know, just absolutely, I don't see why I should trust him at all, because seriously, this is supposed to be a topic about whether NASA is lying, and it turned out to be just a flat earth debate, which is obviously what he wanted. So, you know.
And time. And all right, gentlemen, thank you so very much.
And just one last point. I noticed that he never addressed a single one of my points. We went through all of his points, never addressed one of mine. Not one. Not one.
But more fun in the Q&A as we are switching. So keep on tagging me in chat at Amy Newman. But the first super chat of the night, Iron Horse to the Glurf. How come sun and moon rise in the east and set in the west, but stars go around in circles? And I believe that is for you, Mark.
Because of the rotation of the Earth. The sun is in one direction from the Earth as it rotates around, so it always rises and sets in the same place. The stars do the same if you're at the equator, by the way, and this maybe is something Flatzoid can explain why the Earth's stars at the equator go in the direction, while at the poles they go in circles. So that question's slightly malformed because it's only at the circumpolar stars go in circles, not at the equator.
Thank you for the super chat, Iron, and your response, Mark. And then a $5 super chat from Nominal. Mark, do you believe the moon landing videos are actual footage of astronauts on the moon that we see in our sky?
Yes, because they left reflectors up there that we have shots of, and you can bounce lasers off the reflectors. They're called box reflectors. They're basically a squarish mirror reflectors that if you shoot a laser at them, they bounce on two sides and go back to the origin point. So we can actually test to see whether that's the case.
Thank you, Nominal, in your response, Mark. And then a $5 super chat from Yavier. Are flat earthers even open to changing their minds? What piece of evidence would they accept as proof of a globe?
Well, for starters, it would be great if we could have a demonstration for any of the beliefs, but we don't get simple things like gas pressure without containment.
Thank you so much, Xavier, and your response, Flat. And a $20 super chat from Corey Clark. Thank you, Corey, for all the love and support. NASA is responsible for some of the greatest advancements in human history. They had invented everything from WD-40 to thermal blankets. Don't you feel like you're being disrespectful to all those hardworking people's achievements?
No. I mean, war criminals like Werner von Braun was a rocket scientist who bombed people for a living. Can we now say, can we now say that we are being disrespectful to him for the technology he bestowed on us?
Okay, I just got to address that because this is something I did want to cover in the debate.
Sure, you have a minute.
Okay, so von Braun basically was a rocket scientist. He was a member of the Nazi Party, as all scientists were required to be, regardless of what they actually believed. When he was brought over to the US, there were scientists that didn't. He didn't bomb people for a living, he did rocketry. And the Nazis maybe used that for bombing. Sure, the V-2 rockets were a thing, I'm not going to deny that. But that wasn't his intention. When he came over to the US, he made fast friends with the director of NASA, who, surprise, surprise, was Jewish. So, Flatzoid again is just being deceptive.
Ooh, Flatzoid, you have 30 seconds because it was directed towards you.
Thanks. Very simple. You do not go and befriend someone who you've been fighting for in the last how many years, killing your family and friends. That's the deceptive part, that we're playing together the whole time. Thanks.
And all right, thank you so very much, both of you. And then we have to give a big thank you so very much, Corey. And then we saw that Corey Clark actually gifted 10 different memberships. He gifted 5, and then he gifted another 5. And so I just have to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well done.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so very much, Corey. And thank you, our modern day debate audience and all of our subscribers and members out there. And all right, continuing the list, nominal for $5, Mark Reid, by your logic, is dark matter not just unicorn farts?
I don't know what dark matter is. That's the whole premises of dark matter. We don't know. That's the whole premise, that we don't know what it is. Possibly, yeah. I don't know. I'm not a physicist, so I wouldn't really have an opinion on dark matter. Some people claim it doesn't exist. I don't know if that's true either. So there may actually be something providing gravitational force to the universe out there. Black holes we didn't think existed for a long time, and then the bending of space light of light around that distortion, that incredible mass, we found them. So just because we don't know exactly what something is at the moment doesn't mean we won't know.
Thank you so very much, Nominal, on that response, Mark. And then a $5 super chat from Cool Lambo. The Earth is losing helium, a detectable phenomenon. How does this compute with the claim of a closed system?
Simple. How do they prove that? Is it just hearsay that they're losing helium and that goes against the heliocentric belief? Earth is supposed to be considered a closed system, which means no matter leaves the system. NASA says itself, Earth is considered a closed system. Contradiction.
Yeah, we're losing helium. Yeah, that's a really good question. I just want to say that. And yeah, we can. And I just want to say as a personal note, don't use helium balloons and stuff. We are losing helium. There is not enough decay of radioactive matter to replace it, which is where it comes from. So please stop using helium balloons.
And then
it's a very useful element.
Okay,
Final statement.
Yeah, but by the way, NASA is the largest users of helium, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, we want to save it for scientific purposes. That's correct, yes.
And all right, we're moving forward. Thank you so much, Cool Lambo, and for your responses, panel. And then $5 super chat from Tim Pryor. Thank you so very much, Tim. If you think NASA is so deceitful, then stop using their technology, hypocrite. Ooh, coming in spicy.
No, I've got nothing to say about that. It's just
All right. Thank you so very much, Tim and panel. And we are moving forward. A $5 super chat from Magdalene. At FZ, there is a pressure change, flat, there is a pressure change without a container every time a storm front moves through. Ding dong.
It's the same system. It's a dynamic system. That means the whole volume has a dynamic system inside. So those pressure changes are inside the same system. You don't need containment between every pressure system inside a system.
But there is a pressure gradient, is there not?
Yeah, in one system. It's a complete system. The Earth.
But there's no container around that system. Around the
You haven't provided evidence that there isn't.
But the thunderstorm, there's no container around that pressure system.
That thunderstorm
right?
is in the same system.
So you're defining a system as anything with a container around it?
No, if you got, let's for instance, you say you got the universe as a box. Now you've got another box inside it. That box is the Earth. There is systems.
So a weather system isn't a system.
Cycles. There's weather systems inside that closed box.
Oh, it's a system. It's a weather system. It's a system. Yes.
Earth is a thermodynamic system. Weather systems conform inside
is a system.
the
Thank you.
thermodynamic
No, that's all
system.
I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. Weather system is a system. There's a pressure gradient in it.
Yes.
Well,
And then
good question. Absolutely.
Flatzoid, it was your question, so you get the last few seconds.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't help the guy doesn't understand gas behavior of gas in a closed system creates weather behavior.
And all right, thank you so very much, Mitch Ellen, for your super chat and both answers, panel. And then Gourdzilla, $11 super chat. Thank you so very much. The homeless tweaker shelter. Let me get this pronunciation right. The rhythm. That homeless tweaker shelter sent to the moon in '69 says all you need to know about whether NASA is deceitful or not. Sorry, Mark, it ends there for the honest.
Yeah, I don't know why it's a homeless tweaker shelter was the best technology we had at the time, and certainly I'll challenge you to design anything better. But of course, flat earthers don't actually design anything. They don't do anything. They basically just, sit around and claim that the people actually doing things are lying to them for some reason, because it doesn't really matter whether the earth is round or flat. We'd explore it either way. I don't even understand why these people are supposedly lying to us. There seems to be no reason apart from, they want to destroy my Bible or my religion or things like that. Or just they want to feel special by having some secret knowledge that nobody else does and sort of pretend that they're more experienced in physics than actual physicists. Well, I hate to burst your bubble. You're not, and you're wrong.
Thank you so very much, Gourdzilla, for your super chat, and Mark for that response. And a $10 super chat from Earth is Life. Flatzoid, why can't the container holding Earth's atmosphere be detected by radar?
We don't know how far it is, so how do you know it's even possible to detect it with the radar? What it's made out of?
How far does How far does radar go?
You tell me. You're the one making the claim.
We can bounce radar signals off the moon.
And how far are you claiming the moon to be? 240,000 miles? Does that make it now 240,000 miles? This is another debate all on its own.
Well, no, I can just look it up. That's okay.
We can move on to
And all right, while you're doing that, we are moving on. Thank you so very much, Earth is Life and panel, for that response. And then nominal, $5 for Mark. What are the independent and dependent variables in your proof of gravity?
Okay, so Cavendish experiments. You've got basically a weight hanging from a line, like a pendulum. So the independent variables are the weight you've got on the end and the distance to the other weight. So distance away from a mass and the mass of the secondary object. You can also use the mass of the primary object as well. So those two independent variables make the dependent variable the amount of deflection caused by that on that weight towards the other weight. So there is the answer to your question.
Can I say something about that? First of all, you only have one independent variable in a hypothesis that causes the DV. You can't have three independent variables in one hypothesis.
That's not true.
And you have to have the last word. And so, unless you have something else to say, we're moving forward.
So when you're doing an experiment, you can have as many independent variables as you want. The thing is, and Flatzoid doesn't understand science, is you only alter one at a time and see the result. This is what you do to test the effects of that one independent variable on the dependent variable. So while we have multiple independent variables, we can alter each one at a separate time in each experiment. So we alter, I don't know why you're doing hand signals.
It means different hypotheses, not one hypothesis. Sorry, just had to say.
Well, they didn't ask for hypothesis, did they?
You stated.
Did they ask for hypothesis?
You stated multiple IVs in the same hypothesis.
Well, then I misspoke. I just meant in an experimental situation, you can have multiple independent variables. Wow, okay, just being pedantic. So you can alter each of those. So and the hypothesis would be, if I alter this pendulum weight, how does that affect the deflection of that weight hanging there, which is the dependent variable? Or then you can do, if I alter the distance to that other thing, how does that affect the dependent variable? If you alter the weight that it's being attracted to, or the stationary weight or the fixed weight, how does it alter? So you asked for what you asked for, and then I've given it, and then also how you can actually run this experiment to find out that gravity is real, which has been done like millions of times. You're muted, Amy, for some reason.
Oh, have to do that at least once a podcast. Sending love out there. In fact, it's a great reminder that you can all get tickets at DebateCon 3.1 live in Texas as we are traveling through our Q&A. You could travel to Texas, or you can just for $1 see our stream live. Are we doing this live? Is this live? It's live. A $10 super chat from Maticus Minot. Mark is the son of Sloth from Goonies 1980s. Hey, you guys. Now, I would say I'm sending love out to Maticus. We always want to attack the beliefs and not the people, but we do appreciate all of the love and support that you sent us. We'll give a 4-second air for anyone to respond.
No, I agree with you.
I saw.
There we go.
Once, I'm not sure what that.
Tango.
That was a long
for
time ago.
22, New Zealand. Question for Flatzoid. Do you know that gas molecules have kinetic energy? You know that these gas molecules do work against forces like gravity and collisions with other stuff. What is the temperature of measure? Ding!
Yes, gases, molecules have kinetic energy, but they are elastic collisions, so they can only change direction with a collision, not gravity.
Thank you so very much, and we really want to do send all the love and support Kango for giving us that amazing super chat. And another $10 super chat from Earth is Life, Flatzoid. Why do the density towers mix while in free fall? Is it because they require a downward acceleration for the liquids to stay separated?
First of all, on your globe, it's the Earth rising up, not you falling. So that goes against what you're pulling. Density, if everything's falling together at the same rate, it's not going to separate because it works on the pressure of the differences of density.
Thank you so very much, Earth is Life, and for that explanation, Flat. And then a $5 super chat from Rastaman, Flatzoid. Please explain the difference between mass and weight, and give the simple equation for weight in terms of pressure. Doesn't exist.
Very simple. You guys believe that pressure for density is pressure equals mass divided by P equals mv. Okay, by volume. So that's the pressure. But you guys believe it's gravity has a constant of g, pulling it down, therefore g constant. But that g constant can just be constituted with P because it's just based on pressure going through density.
That's not pressure. It's density equals mass divided by volume.
Yeah, P equals m divided by v.
No.
Yeah, pressure. Density is pressure of remember, it's a compactant of that mass inside a volume, so it's pressure. The more mass in a volume, the more pressure.
And all right, thank you for that responses, panel, and the super chat Rasta Man. But a 220 super chat from Keith Man. Thank you so much. 1 liter of water is displaced. Solve for buoyant force.
Go to Archimedes principle. Just replace that G with a P.
And all right, thank you so very much.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yes.
Do you want time? It's all yours.
Yeah. So pressure is force. So
About that area. Yeah.
never mind.
That's okay. I have to hand it over to you, Flat, though, for your final statement, because the question was yours. Time is back to you.
I love how he laughs about it, but he cannot provide evidence that it's not the pressure, because by definition it is pressure.
And all right, thank you, panel, for that response, and Keith Mann for your super chat. And then another, thank you so very much, Earth is Life, a $10 super chat, Flatzoid. Instead of bickering about gas pressure and perspective, why not take that flight from Johannesburg to Sydney? It's only an 11-hour trip. Figure that out on Flat Earth.
I got family in Perth and stuff, so yeah, it doesn't. We can fly that same route on a donut if we wanted to.
Is the Earth a donut?
No, definitely not. But you can do
Thank
that
you
route
so.
on a donut.
Then it doesn't answer the question.
You can do that route on a donut. It doesn't make it a donut. Just like you guys say you can do it, so therefore globe, it doesn't make it a globe.
Doesn't make it flat either.
It makes it
But
a
the flat
flat.
Earth models that we've seen, you can't travel like the same amount of time from, say, Europe to America and Johannesburg to Perth. It takes, the same amount of time.
I think you are trying to equate to the Gleason's map, which is only a longitudinal and time calculator. It's not latitudinal.
And I just want to say we have 15 more minutes left in the Q&A. So if you want to guarantee that your super chat or question, burning desire is read, please send them in now. Tag me at Amy Newman. I want to continue thanking our interlocutors, Flatzoid and Mark Reid, the links of which are in the description below. However, another $5 super chat. Thank you so very much, Nominal. If 95% of the universe is made up of unicorn farts, then space-time is bending those farts. Einstein the avatar, the fartender, perhaps?
It's a good one. Like with Artemis 1.
I do believe that is for you, Mark, and they did have question marks at the end. And so if 95% of the universe is made up of unicorn farts, then space-time is bending those farts, question mark? Einstein the avatar?
Yeah, no, I don't believe that unicorn farts exist, but I don't believe that a magic man created the universe either. So, these are things you would have to demonstrate are actually true, which unfortunately, Flatzoid and the rest of his ilk cannot seem to do. They just assert it under a faith belief.
And
Like
thank you so
pressure.
very much. Do you have something to say?
Sorry, just
All
to say,
right.
like gas pressure, like containment. So it goes back to him. But he can finish it, yeah.
And all right, exactly. Mark, final word.
Yeah, so this whole idea is to take what I said about the origin of the universe and say, hey, if unicorn farts have mass, as gas has mass, and which my interlocutor has acknowledged already, then gravity has an influence on it, and our calculations show that. In fact, the weird part is that he said P was m divided by v, but if weight is mass times gravity times pressure, how does that equation work? It doesn't work. So, if unicorn farts have mass, then yeah, gravity has an effect on it. Because, weight is gravity times mass.
Thank you so very much, Nominal, for...
What are you doing there? Are you saying you're going to punch somebody or
Pressure.
something? What are you doing?
Pressure. Weight is pressure on the scale.
Yeah, this is a debate, not like a dance-off kind of thing. I don't know what you're doing there.
I'm just showing it's pressure.
$5 super chat. And thank you, Samara. $5 super chat from Farron Salas. Thank you for all the love and support, Farron. $10,000 flat earth sextant challenge still up for grabs, flurfers. Should be easy to collect if celestial navigation on a flat earth model exists.
Would be a challenge if it wasn't just a straw man from his opening statement.
Thank you so very much, Farron, for all the love and support. And then thank you, Flat, for your response. And then $2 super chat from Ethan W. 0406. Mark of the Beast. Prove to us you're wearing pants right now.
Actually, it's Beast of the Mark. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, okay. So, I am definitely wearing pants.
Love the shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And-
Yeah, I got it from... I love this shirt.
See, ladies and gentlemen, modern day debate, we are here making connections, and I'm sending love to Farron and Ethan Magellan. $5 super chat. Flat says the dome is too far for radar. And then when asked how far radar can see, he doesn't know. This is typical Flurf dishonesty.
No, it's simple. We don't know how far it is or what it's made out of. As simple as that. We don't have to back up any claim that we haven't made. The positive claim comes from the globe side with distances, not us. It's just like when you take go to a restaurant and you order a steak. Do you know to know the cow's origin or where it came from? You know there was a cow. It doesn't mean the cow didn't exist just because you don't see the cow.
Thank you so very much, Magellan. And for that response, Flatzoid. And then another super chat, $5.50 from Keithan. Nice dodge, Flatzoid. Try again. If a rock displaces 1 liter of water, calculate the buoyant force on the rock using Archimedes' principle with pressure. Coming after you, Flat.
1 liter of the splash. There, 1 liter. Okay, whatever.
All right.
Just
Thank you
dismissal.
so very. Well, thank you so very much, Keithman, and for that response, Flatzoid. And we are moving down to Congo for $5.50. Again, thank you so very much. Question for Flatzoid. Why is it harder to carry a weight up a slope or upstairs than along a flat surface?
Easy. You disperse more energy.
And all right, thank you so very much, Keithman and Congo. Another super chat from Magellan. Flat, density and pressure are not the same. When a gas is heated, its pressure goes up and its density decreases.
Good point. Good point.
All right, thank you so very much, Magellan. In fact, thank you all of you guys for your continued support and for that response. And then a $10 super chat from Samar, sending so much love. Flatzoid, let's say we renounce the current working scientific model. Do you guys have an alternative model to move cars, fly planes, light light bulbs? Something we could use, or should we live in caves until you do?
First of all, it's not scientific. The globe is based in pseudoscience. I have not yet seen. Yeah, Mark can cry what he wants. This would be a challenge to you, Mark. Give me a scientific hypothesis and experiment for your globe beliefs. Just because we have an explanation of gravity doesn't make it gravity. It just means there is some kind of natural tendency with matter. Doesn't make it gravity.
Yeah. Looks like it's caves for everyone.
And then Flat, you have the final word.
Yeah, if Mark wants to live in a cave, that's his problem. Technology is not science, by the way. It's just based on the knowledge from science.
Oh.
Thank you so very much, Samir, and for your responses, panel. And then another $10 super chat from Nominal. Thank you so very much. You claim, Mark, that Cavendish proves mass attracts mass, but then claim that gravity is the bending of space-time. Is there an experiment that proves the bending of the time?
Yeah, well, Einstein proved that when he made testable predictions on how light would be deflected by certain masses, like he predicted how light would be deflected by the sun, for instance, and it's twice the deflection of what you get under Newtonian physics. So there is definitely testable predictions that were done by Einstein's equations that allowed us to know that he was in fact correct. With Cavendish, I'm not sure, because the gravitational attraction is caused by the bending of space-time. So I'm not saying it's two different things, like one is mass attracting mass and the other is bending of space-time. I'm saying that the bending of space-time is what causes mass to attract mass. So I'm not, I'm not saying it's one thing or the other. I'm saying it's the same thing.
Can I just give one thing and you can close? You do know
Absolutely.
Cavendish is not an experiment and it's torque. It's just based on torque. It's the oscillations.
Cavendish is not an experiment that's done experimentally all the time. Yeah, that's great. So it's called the Cavendish experiment, but it's not an experiment. It's just
Pseudoscience.
torque.
It's a demonstration of torque.
Yeah, no, it's not. Don't give me your conspiracy theory stuff. This is wild conspiracy theory. The Cavendish experiment is an experiment. It's a famous experiment. It's one that's repeated in physics classes all the time. And just because some sort of person who is a conspiracy theorist says, no, that's not an experiment, doesn't mean it's not an experiment. It is.
And
Can you give me any kind of citation for it not being an
Well, you
experiment?
just asked
Can
him
you
a
give me
question.
Any kind of scientist that says it's not an experiment.
So the floor is yours flat, but then Mark is going to have the final word.
The data
Yeah.
from the Cavendish is torsion. It's based on the torque from the torsion twist. That's mechanics of demonstrating mechanics of torsion, not experiment.
Wow. Yeah, no, so he has no idea what he's talking about. The Cavendish experiment is an experiment. He hasn't actually said how he knows this. He's just given a wrong answer about how the actual experiment works. Look it up. Look up the experiment and see if it is mechanical torsion or whether it is gravity. Like, just don't believe a flat earther when they say, hey, that's not an experiment. Go for it.
And all right, we have about 5 more minutes, so this is going to be the last few super chats, and then we are going to head out because we respect our interlocutors' time. But it has been a fantastic debate. Some would even say amazing. And so, a $22 super chat from Bearsworth. Mark, when you shave your head, do you just shave the sides and the back?
No. Why? I don't understand what that's got to do with anything, but sure.
In fairness,
no.
I'm also receding very bad. So
Well, just accept it and shave, that's what I say.
We support men of all
Actually,
types
my
on this
hair
channel.
was burnt off with the incredible amount of calculations my brain does. No, I'm joking. I'm so joking. Like, seriously.
And all right, thank you so very much for the super chat, Bearsworth, and then your responses panel. And then a $5 super chat from Cool Lambo. Again, thank you so very much. What is the mechanism that NASA causes the Earth to be a closed system?
who's that for?
That is for you, Flat.
Oh, what is the mechanism that causes it to be a closed system? They
Yes,
claim the heliocentric belief is that it's an open system, yet they claim Earth to be a closed system, which contradicts the thermodynamic definitions of a system. I don't need to show any mechanics behind it because it's not me contradicting what a thermodynamic system is. It's NASA.
Well, it's an open system because, a certain amount of gas escapes, and also the sun has to come in, so that it can't be a closed system.
Energy
is coming in from the outside.
Yeah, energy goes through a closed system in and out. Matter can only stay in the system or outside the system if it's closed.
And all right, thank you so very much for your responses and your support, Cool Lambo. And then a $20 thank you so much from Yadian Flatzoid. Why do you think the Vera Azano is a tension bridge? Did NASA say so?
Verrazano Bridge has got nothing to do with NASA, and yes, it's a tension bridge. That's how the mechanics of a tension bridge works.
Thank you so very much for your support, Yadian. It really does help the channel grow and get even more amazing debates. And with that, we're going to nominal. Mark Reid, I'll take that as a no. Thanks.
No, what? For what?
I'll try and go back up
I think it was for the
nominals.
shaving. Do you shave your head only on the sides and the back? I think it's about that.
Well, it was also about the Cavendish proves mass,
Oh,
I
okay.
believe. But then the
The question I was asked about Cavendish was that it was two independent and a dependent variables. So I don't know what your take is and no. Oh, you muted Amy. Amy, you muted.
had to do it twice just to be lucky. You claim that Cavendish proves mass attracts mass, but then claim that gravity is bending space-time. Is there an experiment that proves the bending of time?
Yeah, I gave Einstein's equations, testable predictions.
All right, thank you so very much, Nominal, and thank you so much, Mark Reid, for your response. And then a 550 Congo super chat, Flatzoid. The fact that you're doing a live debate debunks your entire position.
I don't know how, but okay. Thank you for the super chat, I guess.
All right, we have a 550, and thank you, Congo, 550 super chat from Keithman. Flatzoid, here's a hint. A pressure is measured in pascals. Same question, 1 liter of water displaced by a rock, find the buoyant force using pressure.
Sorry, I'm not going to do the math now. You can do it up yourself if you want to.
You
can send all the super
Figure it out
chats.
yourself, you don't know.
Mark, is it my turn to talk or not? He can send it all he wants to. I don't need to do anything. Remember, you haven't provided gas pressure without containment for us.
Okay, so where can I go to find a gas, like an uncontained system?
You can't because we're in a contained system. Congratulations.
Exactly. So you're basically asking me to show something where I can't get. You're basically setting it up so I can't get to an uncontained system. So you're basically it's a dodge. It's just basically saying, hey, we're not an uncontained system. You can't prove it because you can't go anywhere that there's an anything that I show, you'll say it's a contained system. So a weather system, you're like it's a contained system.
Yeah, it's in the same system.
And all right,
This is a dishonesty.
There is a single question, and then we are heading out. The last super chat of the night. I appreciate if any other super chats come in, but we just appreciate our interlocutor's time for coming on. And so, Maticus Minot, for $5, says both flat and round can work, I believe, more with simulation.
Ooh.
All the power to it.
Whoever wants to go first, I will hit you.
But I could talk for ages on hard solipsism and simulation theory and things like that. I think though sort of it's interesting to talk about, although being unfalsifiable. Maybe we will be able to falsify or confirm it to be true in the future. But I think that everything we gather is from the presumed simulation, so it's impossible to tell at the moment. Maybe we'll find out. Don't know.
And all right, the floor is yours, Flatzoid, for the last statement of the night.
Okay, yeah. If he wants to believe in it, I would like to see the observations to present it. But yeah, everybody has their own belief and opinions on how we see everything. I mean, I think Mark would agree on this. It would be boring life if we all believed exactly the same thing. So yeah.
Woo-hoo! Thank you so very much. And with that, I want to thank both our interlocutors, Flatzoid and Mark Reid, for coming on tonight. I want to also send love all the people out there like Sideshow, working behind the scenes, our fantastic mods, keeping things so pretty, and most importantly, you, our audience, for joining us on Modern Day Debate. We are a neutral, nonpartisan platform welcoming everybody from all walks of life. If you're looking for even more fantastic debates, we are all over the internet, including your favorite podcasting platform like Apple, Spotify, or Google Podcasts. So if you enjoy debates, well, why not look at the bottom right of your screen, because you can see that DebateCon 3.1 conference is coming on Saturday, April 22nd in Fort Worth. Tickets are in the description box below, along with all of our interlocutors' links. And if you just have $1 and you can't quite make it over there, you can get a live stream feed right to your door. Less than a cup of coffee, ladies and gentlemen. Woo-hoo. And if you enjoy the show, please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Maybe even share. It helps us reach a wider audience, including tonight's debate on Is NASA Deceitful? With our debaters, Mark, Reid, and Flatzoid, who were here to help us find that answer. Furthermore, like I said, if you like what any of our guests have said tonight, their links are right there in the description box below. Finally, if you're looking for even more fun in the sun, the after show on the MDD Discord is also throwing after parties and fun on the topic right down there as well in the description. With that, I am Amy Newman with Modern Day Debate, and we hope you continue having great conversations, discussions, and debates. Good night!
Bye.
Okay, we are out, and you guys can unmute, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
All right, thank you so much, Amy. Really appreciate it.
Second love, Mark.
Yeah, Flatzoid, in the future I will do debates if you want, but certainly maybe just, if you want to debate Flat Earth or a part of Flat Earth, maybe just say that. I would have been happy to debate Flat Earth or air pressure or anything you wanted to debate, but we seem to get stuck on Flat Earth, not NASA.
Remember, I gave 4 arguments. That was just the one argument.
Yep.
We couldn't get past
Yeah,
it to
so
get to the other arguments.
Which
That was
arguments
why
of
they were
mine did we
deceitful. That's
address?
what I'm saying. But yeah, I enjoyed the debate.
Which
Thank
argument?
you.
Hang
But in
on, hang
future,
on a
it would
sec.
be
Which
nice.
arguments of...
Future would be nice if you
Which
stopped
arguments?
adding
No, I just want to
calling me
speak.
stupid.
Which arguments of mine did we address? Did you
All of them.
address? None of them.
I showed an actual demonstration, which you said was impossible. to
Okay.
do. So that's one.
Technology?
Show you false.
Technology. The
Technology.
overview of NASA. Yeah. So the NASA being regulated by the government.
The government agency.
The staff in NASA. The staff and personnel.
I said we talked about the bolts, and I even gave analogies like the Muslims.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a very, very short amount of time. You got kind of stuck and fascinated on.
Yeah, because we
Flat
couldn't
Earth
get
rather
past
than NASA.
argument 1, which you could not provide. You tried to obfuscate
Yeah, because
from
you
just
set it up as
demonstrating.
logically impossible to provide. You've set up a logical impossibility that any system
not.
like a weather
Natural
system
law-
wasn't a contained system; it was larger than that. Anyway, I'm not gonna
Yeah, we're not
debate
debating
about it. I'm
now,
not gonna
but yeah.
argue about it. What I'm saying, if I debate you again, I want to know that you're actually going to stick to topic, because
It
this
is
the
to
problem
topic. It
with
has
you
been to
guys.
topic.
Yeah, no, it hasn't.
Yes, it was.
You've got
NASA's
complete
deceitful
debate.
because
Well, it's my
natural law
opinion whether
debunks
it was
them.
or it wasn't. Yeah, Flatzoid, I'm not arguing this with you. I'm telling you how I feel. So, you can say, hey, I think you're wrong. That's fine. You can think I'm wrong. But I think it was kind of dishonest to sort of say, oh, we're going to discuss NASA and then get stuck on Flat Earth for frigging ages. I
didn't
think
say
that you just
flat Earth
wanted
once,
it.
though, but okay.
What I'm saying is that if you want to debate Flat Earth, just say up front, I want to debate Flat Earth. That's all.
It wasn't
Anyway, I'm going to
allowed.
go. Amy, lots of love. Really love you.
Yes.
Awesome job moderating. Yeah, I'm not gonna debate about this. This is how I feel. You can feel differently. That's fine. Great. Fantastic.
Mark, I'm
Take it
sending
away
you
and
love.
complain to somebody else.
Okay.
Flat.
Yeah.
Great job, both of you guys. Great job. You made it easy. Honestly, it didn't even have that much until the very end. Even that, I swear, the audience loves it. They
Yeah.
love the back and forth. It was a great. You guys were still being generous to each other, and so I thank you for making my job easy. And I hope you guys both have a good night.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Yeah.
Mark, as
See
well.
you, Amy.
Cheers, Mark. Thank you, Amy. Have a great day further.
Have a
Cheers.
good one.
Yeah, guys. So, that was simply very easy to. That was an easy debate. I have no other words to say. Thank you. I saw Godzilla did send a super chat earlier. Godzilla, would you be able to just tag me with what you said in the super chat so I can shout it out? Sorry, I couldn't shout it out. And if there were any other super chats, please let me know. Thank you all for coming. I think that was actually one of the easiest debates I've ever had. I don't think he was actually ready for the debate, because he has never debated me before. So, and Moxie, yeah, Argument 1. Thank you, Godzilla 37. Thank you very much for your 5 members gifted. Guys, do accept the gifts. Thank you very much. My wife accepted one. She's probably awake now. But thanks, guys, for coming. Really appreciate it. I mean, tonight we're going to be having a discussion on this debate then, and we'll take it as what's going on and comment on it and everything. But at the end of the day, it was simple. I gave 4 arguments. I answered his arguments and debunked them in like a few minutes, because it's very easy to debunk his arguments on why they would be trustworthy. They're not. Why they're not deceitful. I gave the arguments why they are. We couldn't get past natural law, which was expected. I could have given a list of 10 different arguments on why they're deceitful, but I did not need to. So yeah, it's very simple. Then he goes to say, all he did the whole debate was calling me an idiot and saying I'm dishonest and a liar. For what? I have no idea. So just because he doesn't understand gas behavior doesn't mean I don't. Projection overload. But I think he was literally wetting his pants because he was sweating because he had nothing. Exactly. Gas laws don't cause to be gas laws, cause big. Yeah, but it's good to see you all here. Thank you for coming. Godzilla, yeah, thank you again for your super chat and for the 5 membership given. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Do you guys enjoy me debating on MDD? Do you want me to do it more often? Let me know. Let's go see. This was me showing demonstration of gas pressure with a containment, where gas pressure gradients with a containment, which he says was impossible. I almost got to this if it was on the one. Where's the VFX, the Scientific Visualization Studio? They specifically there for VFX of NASA. That was one of my arguments. We just didn't get to it. NASA budget, he said, was 21 billion. Maybe you should keep up to date because it's 32 billion. And by the way, you can feed all the souls on Earth with this 32 billion. We wouldn't have a hungry person on Earth. Yet they claim, it's only like 0.5% or whatever of the budget. So what? That shows you how much money the government just in America has alone to be able to feed the population. Yet you have many, many people starving to death. Weird. Einors, against the big girls blouse like Mark. You did great. Thanks, Einors. Really appreciate it. It wasn't much of a debate because he couldn't get past argument 1. And as I was saying with how it was based on the first law, he couldn't understand the first law. He had to concede that it was you need an origin. So by conceding you need an origin, already concede you need a creator for that origin. Therefore, matter couldn't create itself, energy couldn't create itself. The implosion of quantum fields or whatever he wanted to bring up makes my point. It had to be there to implode. So yeah, it wasn't much of a debate. But I must say, let's see, 125 votes and that says in Deceptive, yes 60% and no 40%. I think that's very telling. Thank you, Aaron. Andrew Johnson, $32 billion is $4 per person per year. Yeah, but this is 32 billion. It's a lot of money, and $4 puts food in people's stomach, Andrew, and that's just one aspect of it. There's much more that could be done. You can take that 32 billion and you create self-sustainable farms for people to live on. You can create many jobs other than going to space, which cannot be presented as real. It's simply a belief. Many things wrong with that, in my opinion. But then again, they're a government agency, and governments are just there to promote governance. They're there to govern the minds of the people. Exactly. That's also true. 32 billion a year is still way more enough to provide a single proof of a globe. Yet there we're still waiting. I do love how he conceded at the end. It's impossible to show it without containment because we're in a contained system. So he conceded we are contained. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, exactly. That's only 3% of the budget, Einhorst. They ignore the rest of the budget. If NASA is so much for humanity, then why they're not really caring about humanity? That's very simple stuff. Do you guys want... I don't know how much longer. I'm actually quite tired. Oh, roof's in. I don't need to do that. Yeah, I think that was fun. I think Mark's probably going to run away from me because he didn't expect me to have the arguments I did. I think he thought I'm going to be some kind of pushover because he's never seen me debate before. Yeah, and by the way, again, Cavendish. Cavendish is simply torque. That's what they measure. They measure the oscillations due to the torsion. And that's how they got the density, calculating the density of Earth. It's not an experiment. Just because they put experiment at the end of the demonstration of torque does not make it an experiment. He even said himself, more than one IV, so therefore it's not a hypothesis, a scientific hypothesis. You only have one IV in a scientific hypothesis. You can create multiple hypotheses, but then it's still just one IV per hypothesis. So yeah, very simple stuff. Keithman, Keithman's back. Thank you for coming. No, I don't need to try anything, Keithman. It's simple. Archimedes' principle, 1,900 years before gravity was pronounced as a force, by the way, which is not anymore. That is redundant. What produces the torque? The density. That produces the torque. The density of the masses, Andrew. Because the gas around it cannot support it, so it's hanging freely. There's nothing to support it, so it's causing torque on the system, the rod. This has been explained many times, and that's why you have oscillations. Exactly, TB. No one cares. Cavendish was not an experiment. A hypothesis can only have one IV, or it's not scientific. Because you need to figure out the cause for the effect. Without having a cause for effect, you can't figure it out. That's what science is. It's simply a method to figure the cause for the effect observed. That's why when it comes to Einstein and he made a mathematical equation, he was just not doing science. He was making a prediction like a soothsayer makes a prediction. That's it. It's not scientific. How does a hanging mass produce rotational force? Simple. The density of the mass is hanging on a torsion bar. That's why they call it a torsion bar. And because that torsion bar causes it to have a twist, a torsion twist, you know what I mean? Because of the torque on the torsion bar. That's it. It's very simple stuff. No, I don't need to replace gravity with anything. Gravity came after. You replaced Archimedes' principle of pressure displacement for gravity, Keith. That's the problem, not the other way around. Gravity came after. Do note, still has all the things that have just been obfuscated from the beginning of the argument. We could have moved on if he just demonstrated gas pressure of the containment or conceded in the beginning he can't do so. Then we could have moved on to the next argument, which I still would have had fun doing the VFX with him as well. Nothing he showed in his presentation was even remotely showing why they are not deceitful. Yeah, I agree the people working for NASA, most of them are not deceitful, but you do get that bunch that know, like the astronauts, they are deceitful because they know they're not in a place that they claim to be, and they've been caught out many times, lying, contradicting themselves, showing wires, augmented reality, NASA having VFX to help them out with their narrative, and yeah, training underwater, which is a total different environment to a vacuum. That's about it, yeah. How does it have a downward force twist? Exactly, it's simple. Its density of the masses cannot be supported by the area around it, the gas around it. So what's happening? It's got a larger pressure, it pushes down. That's what pressure is. It's the force exerted on a surface wall. So, I said in the equation of today's standards of Archimedes, you can replace it. But again, like I stated, Keith, Archimedes' principle came 1,900 years before gravity was even conceptualized. And even then it was conceptualized as a force. It's not a force anymore. So, you cannot actually use the constant of G in your Archimedes principle because it's not a force. You require F equals ma requires a force to have acceleration. You have acceleration, so where's your force? Oh wait, you don't have any. That's about it. So guys, I think I'm probably going to end it here. Maybe catch a half hour's nap before, well, no, the children are going to get up now, so. Thanks guys all for the awesome show. Appreciate all your support. Thank you for all the super chats, and please just hit the like button and share. And yeah, tonight we'll be having a discussion on this and commentary and stuff. It would be great if you guys can pop by. If you have any thoughts on about the debate, it would be great to have you guys in. So really appreciate you guys all coming in. See you guys all later tonight. Many blessings, and may the pressure be with you. Cheers.